Chapter 1243. It was rare for Ce to get angry. Ever since he met Yun Jian, however, the number of times he lost his temper had gradually increased. Outside of society, there would always be some people who thought they were very powerful, and then they would point fingers at others. It was also men who wanted to hook up with pretty girls when they saw them. Most girls who were hooked up with would be seduced by a few compliments. Of course, it was impossible for something like this to happen to Yun Jian. Ce was ruthless, and the man was about to vomit the food in his stomach from Ce's kick. Ce looked away and back at Yun Jian. "Don't let me see you again." Scram. Ce spat softly. His tone was cold, but his gaze was now on Yun Jian. He was speaking to the man just now, but his gaze on Yun Jian was filled with indulgence. The man could not get up for a long time, dawdling on the floor for a while before he finally got up reluctantly. Oddly enough, the man had just gotten up from the floor and was about to run over to the person in charge of the cruise ship to seek justice for him and blackmail Ce. The painful kick just now was not a waste of his effort. However, once the man got up, he did not feel any discomfort coming from him. How was that possible? How painful was Ce's kick just now? It was so painful that he could barely stand up. Why was he not feeling any discomfort after he got up? While the man frowned, wondering what had happened to him, Ce had already pulled Yun Jian to the seat that was occupied by the man and woman just now. His kick could not have hurt the man, of course. Ce did not want to get into any trouble and delay the trip's progress since they were going out to have fun. His world with Xiao Jian had yet to begin. Yun Jian was unaware of Ce's thoughts. She was already sitting with Ce on the seat that was occupied by the man and woman just now. The ship was still sailing. Apart from the last jolt, the ship didn't sway again. The journey was very smooth. When they finally arrived at the island, it was already 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. In the summer, the sun was already high in the sky at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. After they got off the boat, Ningxia led the team to the beach near the island. The beach of the boat island was very large. Looking from the edge of the beach, the entire beach was filled with yellow sand and rocks. It was July, and the weather was getting hotter and hotter. The 2 months of summer vacation were undoubtedly the hottest period of the year in Zhe province. When they arrived at the beach, Ningxia accompanied Qin Yu and Yun Jian to the girls' changing room. Qin Yiru and Mrs. Yang went to the changing room together. Before coming to the beach, Ningxia's mother had already prepared swimsuits for the ladies. Ningxia's mother was very polite. Ningxia's mother had also helped to prepare swimsuits for the men. However, most men would only wear underwear when they went to the beach. Of course, the underwear here were not briefs but boxers. There were changing rooms for men and women set up near the sea. Qin Yu was currently pushing Yun Jian into the changing room excitedly. Chapter 1244. The black swimsuit that was shoved into Yun Jian's arms was not revealing. She would not be exposed in it, and the important parts would not be overly exposed to others. In spite of that, the black swimsuit showcased a girl's figure to its fullest. Even the bumpy parts could be completely displayed. Yun Jian could feel it when she held the swimsuit in her hands. Yun Jian could not help blushing. It was not that Yun Jian had never worn a swimsuit before, but be it in her past life or this life, she had never worn something that exposed her figure completely and exposed her important parts, let alone a swimsuit. Yun Jian was a famous secret agent in her past life, but as a female secret agent, she had never relied on seduction to win. Why was it that some people would think of bad things when they heard the word secret agent, especially female secret agents? Some people would even imagine female secret agents who relied on their bodies to win. All these did not exist for Yun Jian. In her past life, she had killed many internationally renowned male assassins who were known for their abilities. In slaying God's world, seduction did not exist. What was there to ask? There was only one answer: she did not need nor did she have to seduce anyone. Her ability was enough for her to kill anyone in a second. Therefore, Yun Jian's cheeks flushed when she saw the top that was as short as a bra and the swimming trunks that barely covered 1/5 of her thighs. It was mainly for her to wear this in front of him. Hurry up and change, Sister Jian. Heh heh, the color really suits you. I've never seen you in a swimsuit before. You'll have to satisfy me today. Qin Yu urged again with a half-smile in her voice. Holding the black swimsuit in her hand, she changed into it eventually. When Yin Jian took off her top, Qin Yu almost screamed when she saw Yin Jian's perfect figure. After holding it in for a while, Qin Yu covered her mouth and screamed at Yin Jian like a little girl, "Young master, you're the one who's going to die." Wow! You have such a great figure, Sister Jian. I've eaten a lot these days, I'm getting a little fat now. As Qin Yu spoke, she rubbed her belly. Yin Jian smiled and stroked Qin Yu's hair, saying, "What are you waiting for?" Oh. Qin Yu changed into the pink swimsuit that Ningxia's mother had prepared for her. Qin Yu's figure was not as curvy as Yin Jian's, nor was she like Yin Jian, who was thin and voluptuous in the right places. In spite of it, Qin Yu's figure. Ce and the men who were waiting by the door had already changed into their swimsuits. Of course, Ce did not take off his shirt. He wore a pair of knee-length pants that went into the water and a black casual top. He did not like exposing himself in front of others, so he never took off his upper body or his clothes in front of others. Standing where they were for a while, Ce was surrounded by men who had taken off their top, some of them even trying to show off their toned muscles. There were already a number of girls who were sizing Ce up, but Ce ignored them. It was then that a slender figure walked out from the girls' changing room. She had changed into a pure black swimsuit and short swimming trunks without the slim-fitting top. A pair of fair, flawless, straight, and beautiful thighs were the first to appear before everyone. Ce tensed up the moment he saw the pair of fair legs. Chapter 1245. Yin Jian's figure was tall and slender. The moment she stepped out, the men around her studied her from head to toe. Yin Jian's swimsuit would not be exposed at all, but it was similar to tights. It gave people endless room for imagination and at the same time showcased her figure to the fullest. Sister Jian is so pretty. Qin Yu stepped out as well. She had changed into a pink swimsuit that was brighter and more revealing than Yin Jian's. In spite of it, pink looked more girly. Qin Yu called out from behind Yin Jian. It was a family meeting up with a friend's family to go on a trip together. To put it bluntly, they were out to relax, so there was no need to be so restrained. Yin Jian, who was looking into Ce's eyes, lifted her head slightly before lowering it again. For some reason, she could keep a straight face in front of others, but in front of Ce, she felt like she had to consider her every move carefully. It was rare for Ce to be stunned for a moment before he came back to his senses and went to Yin Jian. He was the only one who could appreciate her beauty. Ce pulled Yin Jian's hand in front of everyone and headed to a spot with more rocks by the beach. Qin Yiru had just come out of the girls' changing room. When she saw Ce pulling Yin Jian to the beach, she asked, "Ae, where are you taking Xiao Jian?" "Walking around." Ce answered softly. Without turning around, he pulled Yin Jian to the spot with more rocks by the beach. These two kids are getting more and more compatible. Gu Junjian, who stood beside Qin Yiru, could not help nodding as he watched Yin Jian and Ce's backs before he told Qin Yiru. Yin Jian was not particularly tall, just a little over 1.6 meters. In spite of it, Yin Jian's height, coupled with her pretty face and body proportions, were just right. Ce was 1.85 meters tall. Standing beside Ce, Yin Jian felt like a little bird leaning on him. Yin Jian's head could only reach above Ce's shoulder. In spite of it, the two of them gave the feeling that they were meant to be together. They were a perfect match. Ce had already pulled Yin Jian far away. Qin Yiru and the others who stood where they were did not follow them. Children were grown up. Just like little birds, they should have their own sky. Qin Yiru was very gratified. On the other side, Ce had already brought Yin Jian to a spot with more rocks by the beach. Ce had just pulled Yin Jian over when he took off his jacket and personally put it on Yin Jian. "You're wearing so little. Your stomach is showing." Be careful not to catch a cold, Ce said as he put his jacket on Yunjian. He even buttoned up the jacket that he had put on for Yunjian. Yunjian was speechless. The temperature was at least 37 degrees Celsius. If it was noon and the sun was shining brightly, the temperature would soar to 40 degrees Celsius. In such a hot weather, some people would even want to take off their clothes to cool off. However, what did Ce say? He said, "Be careful not to catch a cold." The meaning of his words was too obvious. Just as Ce buttoned up the men's jacket that Yunjian was wearing with his long fingers, a middle-aged man among the many small yachts docked not far away from the rocky shore suddenly came over to them and said, "I'm sorry, but I'm sorry." Chapter 1246. The middle-aged man who suddenly walked over was wearing casual clothes and a pair of loose, grayish-brown pants that reached his knees. He stumbled as he walked, as though his legs weren't very nimble. The middle-aged man's arrival interrupted Ce's actions. Although the middle-aged man was a little embarrassed, he still spoke boldly in order to attract business. "It's like this. My surname is Hang. You can call me Master Hang. I've been sailing in this area for decades. I have a boat here that can seat 10 people. We already have 8 guests here. If the two of you come together and form a boat, I can give you guys a discount for forming a team. So, young lady, young man, are you interested?" This middle-aged man was also known as Master Hang. Master Hang was currently giving a brief introduction to Yunjian and Ce. There were all sorts of activities along the beach, so there were many people who came to attract business. Some people's jobs were like this. If they didn't attract enough tourists, they wouldn't be able to make a living. Hence, it was reasonable for them to be thick-skinned. Yunjian narrowed her eyes when she heard Master Hang's words. Ce didn't look at Master Hang. Instead, he reached out and patted Yunjian's head affectionately. Then he said in his deep, magnetic voice, "Do you want to go?" He was naturally asking if they wanted to take the yacht. Even Master Hang, who was standing a distance away, couldn't help but smile when he saw Ce's affectionate gaze. "Okay." Yunjian agreed. At the same time, she reached out to pull Ce up and put on the jacket that was used to cover her swimsuit. 2 people. When Ce saw this, he reached out and pulled Yunjian's small hand over to Master Hang with a smile. "Okay." Master Hang's words carried a strong local accent, but his words could still be heard clearly. As Master Hang spoke, he held a life jacket in his hand. When he led the way back to the yacht, Master Hang couldn't help but praise Ce. "Young man, you have a bright future ahead of you." Haha. The meaning behind his words was self-evident. Ce smiled. He held Yunjian's small hand and followed behind them. Master Hang brought Ce and Yunjian to the yacht. There were a few people who were about the same age as Yunjian and Ce. When they saw Yunjian and Ce, they greeted them. They were about the same age as Yunjian and Ce. These young people looked quite friendly. It was no wonder. After all, Ce and Yunjian had joined them. Since there were more peoples, of course. "My name is Lin Hui. Nice to meet you." A girl greeted Yunjian and Ce in a friendly manner. Yunjian nodded. Ce didn't reply. Seeing this, the group of people who had teamed up with Yunjian and Ce didn't get angry. The group of people was very friendly. After all, not everyone would show their emotions on their faces. "Put on your life jackets first." Master Hang brought over 10 orange life jackets and handed them to everyone. Although there weren't any people of the same age as Yunjian and Ce who were hostile to each other, they would compare themselves to each other. However, when people of the same age went out with people of the same age, they always liked to compare who was better. They even liked to say something professional to show that they were knowledgeable. "How do we put on the life jackets?" a girl asked. She couldn't put on the life jackets after a long time. Chapter 1247. The one who spoke was a good-looking young man. As he spoke, He lowered his head and fastened his life jacket. While fastening the life jacket, the young man couldn't stop bragging. Back then, my uncle was a famous yachting expert. He even participated in some yachting competition. He even won the first prize. As he spoke, the young man paused and bragged even more. When I was 16, I went to stay at my uncle's house for a period of time during summer vacation. At that time, my uncle even taught me how to drive a yacht. The operation was quite simple. After learning for a day, I could drive a yacht on my own. The young man's bragging tone was very unpleasant. It was very obvious that Lin Huai and the others who were with the young man had heard him bragging more than once. The young man's ultimate goal in bragging was to see the astonishment and shock on Yunjian and Siyi's faces. It was just like bragging and then seeing the astonishment and shock on Yunjian and Siyi's faces was to fuel the young man's vanity. The young man didn't have any other intentions. He just wanted to see the astonishment and shock on their faces when they found out about his strength. Unfortunately, he didn't see any astonishment or shock on Yunjian and Siyi's faces. On the contrary, Yunjian and Siyi's expressions were very normal. The young man, on the other hand, paused his hand that was still fastening his life jacket. He was a little surprised that they were not as shocked as he had expected when they heard how awesome he was. Yunjian and Siyi had already skillfully put on their life jackets. In just a few seconds, they had fastened their life jackets. Even Master Hang was stunned by Yunjian and Siyi's skillful movements, let alone the people around them. Ahem. Let's get on the boat after fastening your life jackets. In order to ease the awkward atmosphere, Master Hang deliberately pulled on the rope tied to the bow of the boat. The young man smiled awkwardly and helped the others put on their life jackets. Yunjian and Siyi were the first to get on the boat. By the time Lin Huai and the young man got on the boat, Yunjian and Siyi were already sitting on the side of the boat. When the other young people got on the boat, another boy beside the young man who had been bragging said, "Yushu, you said you learned how to drive a yacht during the summer vacation. I'll have to trouble Master Hang to drive it for you later." The young man who had been bragging in front of everyone was called Xiong Yushu. Xiong Yushu wanted to prove his ability from the beginning. Now that the other boy who came with him started cooperating, Xiong Yushu immediately said, "Hey, I didn't. I've learned how to drive a yacht, but Misa's uncle's way, Xiong Yushu, Yushu's s and the boats and the boat, the boat, the boat, and the boat, the boat, the boat, the boat, the boat, the boat, the boats, the boat island was very big. It was impossible to walk the entire boat island in a day's time. Therefore, it was not a bad choice to spend a few dozen yuan to take a boat around the boat island. Sitting beside Ce, Yunjian enjoyed the thrill of being on the yacht and sailing at high speed on the sea with her eyes closed. At this moment, they had already sailed half a lap around the boat island. At this moment, Master Hang, who was sailing, suddenly clutched his chest. In the next second, he felt a sharp pain in his heart. The hand that was holding the steering wheel suddenly loosened. Chapter 1248. Lin Huai was the first to notice that Master Hang had fainted. Originally, Yunjian and Ce were on their backs while the others were on their backs. After Master Hang fell to the ground, Lin Huai immediately screamed when she noticed. Yunjian and Ce had already noticed when Master Hang fell to the ground. As for the others, they also reacted after Lin Huai screamed. What happened to Master Hang? Why did he faint? That was the first thought that appeared in everyone's mind. Because this happened so suddenly, no one had time to react, so everyone was dumbfounded. Yacht. Who knows how to drive a yacht? Hurry up and send him to the beach. Will Master Hang? One of the boys started shouting in panic. After all, they were already halfway around the island and it would take at least 10 to 20 minutes to get back. Master Hang had suddenly fainted, and no one present knew what had happened. The best thing to do now was to quickly send him back to the beach where they first came out and call for help. But the problem now was, who would drive the yacht after Master Hang fainted? Moreover, Master Hang had fainted, so no one dared to touch him. What if something happened to him again? What should they do? Who would take responsibility? Yushu, hurry up. Didn't you learn how to drive a yacht from your uncle during the summer vacation? Hurry up and drive the yacht back to the beach. If this drags on, someone will die. The boy who helped Xiong Yushu brag earlier said to Xiong Yushu. Because he had never encountered something like this before, when the boy spoke, his voice was hoarse and trembling. I don't know where to go. I'm not familiar with this place either. Xiong Yushu's boastful attitude was gone. He began to tremble, and even his footsteps were hesitant to drive the yacht. It was one thing to brag earlier, but now that it was a critical moment, he was afraid. After all, when he drove the yacht, he was alone. Now, he had to carry so many people, and there was also a person who could die at any time. He was afraid. Yushu, what are you waiting for? You're the only one here who knows how to sail a yacht. If you don't help us, the boy urged again. It wasn't a good idea for the yacht to stay here forever. If it stayed here for too long, the yacht might sink. Everyone became more and more afraid. Not only were they worried about Master Hang, but they were also worried about their own safety. However, just as these people were so scared that they couldn't move, they didn't know what to do next. A clear female voice was heard. I'll drive the yacht. Just as he finished speaking, Yun Jian had already turned sideways and sat in the driver's seat of the yacht. Yun Jian's back was facing the crowd. She said to the panicked people standing behind her, he has a myocardial infarction. Try not to touch him. Yun Jian's words were not a question, but a statement. After saying that, she started the engine of the yacht under everyone's surprised and stunned expressions and pushed the yacht to the maximum speed. How did you know he had a myocardial infarction? Did you study medicine? And you know how to drive a yacht? Lin Huai asked in surprise. Yun Jian didn't answer Lin Huai directly. Instead, she said to the crowd, hold tight. As soon as she finished speaking, Yun Jian released the clutch. Chapter 1249. Only the sound of wind blowing could be heard from the side of their ears. Everyone grasped the handle tightly, and they were all dumbfounded. Yun Jian's yacht was sailing at an extremely fast speed. Just this speed alone was enough to make everyone turn pale. If someone didn't hold on to the railing tightly, they would probably have been blown off by the wind. Her speed was simply unbelievably fast. Oh my God. This isn't something a newbie can operate. Even my uncle's speedboat isn't as fast as she is today. My uncle has been sailing a yacht for almost 20 years. Xiong Yushu was scared half to death. He quickly grabbed onto the railing tightly and spoke in a terrified tone. As soon as Xiong Yushu finished speaking, the young people standing around, including Lin Huai, all showed a horrified expression. Previously, Xiong Yushu had bragged about how amazing his uncle was. But now? This girl who had boarded the yacht with them and hadn't spoken much from the start actually had such advanced yacht driving skills? Even Xiong Yushu couldn't help but complain that his uncle, whom he admired the most, wasn't as fast as Yun Jian today. How amazing must she be to be able to force Xiong Yushu to say something like this? The sea breeze roared as Ce stood beside Yun Jian. He didn't do anything else. Even in this open-air yacht, he didn't reach out to hold onto the railing and was able to stabilize his body. A journey that would normally take 10 to 20 minutes was forcibly shortened to 5 minutes by Yun Jian. Lin Huai, Xiong Yushu, and the rest were completely dumbfounded. Seeing such a situation, everyone present was stunned. It wasn't for anything else but Yun Jian's frightening ability. She actually knows how to sail a yacht. How old is she? Just as they were thinking this, Yun Jian's low voice was heard. Hold on tight. After Yun Jian finished speaking, the few people on the yacht used both hands to hold on to the railing. In the next second, they felt Yun Jian driving the yacht towards the shore where there was no water. Ah! We'll capsize like this. Lin Huai's face was pale with fright. She gripped the railing tightly and closed her eyes. Just like Lin Huai, the others didn't look any better. At this moment, all of them had their eyes tightly shut. They were so scared that their nerves were stretched taut. When everyone heard Yun Jian's words, they grabbed the railing of the yacht tightly. Bang! In the next second, the yacht suddenly rushed ashore. Because of the impact of the seawater, coupled with the strong inertia, it was very strong. Therefore, in the next moment, when the yacht hit the shore, it hit the shore hard before stopping steadily. Actually, the bumpiness of the yacht wasn't that bad. At least Master Hang, who was lying on the boat, did not sway at all. The yacht was docked steadily. Obviously, Master Hang was not driving the yacht alone. There were many friends of Master Hang around. When they saw Yun Jian driving the yacht back to the shore, several other friends and colleagues of Master Hang ran over barefoot. What's wrong? What's wrong? The group of people were noisy. When they saw Master Hang lying on the boat, they were so scared that their faces turned pale. For a moment, they didn't know what to do. A middle-aged uncle even reached out to pull Master Hang up from the ground and carry him to the hospital. At this moment, everyone saw the beautiful girl in front of them come out from the driver's seat. She calmly stopped the man's actions. Don't touch him. The middle-aged uncle who was about to reach out his hand was stunned for a moment. He really didn't continue to reach out. Chapter 1250. The person who walked over did not care about anything else at all. He came over and criticized Yun Jian. He even looked unhurried. It did not look like he was doing it for Master Hang's sake. Instead, he looked like he was gloating. Moreover, this person walked over and looked at Yun Jian slowly. He looked like he could not wait to see something happen to Master Hang. Moreover, when he spoke to Yun Jian, this person's tone was very bad. However, this person deliberately said that it was for Master Hang's sake, causing the surrounding people to really think that Yun Jian was deliberately trying to harm Master Hang. Hence, the surrounding people started to criticize Yun Jian. Young lady, what's wrong with you? Are you hoping that something happens to our Master Hang? That's right. Our Master Hang is such a good person. This young lady is actually so vicious. Come, come. Hurry up and carry Master Hang to the hospital for a checkup. Master Hang's colleagues began to criticize Yun Jian. Some people even said that Yun Jian was vicious. The words were spoken in a split second. Narrowing her eyes, Yun Jian's lips curled into a cold smirk. After sneering, Yun Jian continued, he has a myocardial infarction. Call an ambulance immediately. You are not medical staff. After a myocardial infarction, if you are not rescued in time, the patient will often die within 2 hours. Don't move or help the patient walk. Otherwise, his condition will only worsen faster. If something happens, none of you can bear the responsibility. Yun Jian's cold words were quickly heard. Then, she successfully stopped the group of people who wanted to reach out to touch Master Hang. Yes, Yun Jian was right. If something happened while moving or helping the patient walk, no one could bear the responsibility. I'll call the doctor. Someone quickly ran to the hospital near the beach. Fortunately, it was not far from the hospital. After the doctor returned and completed a series of safety measures, he finally sent Master Hang safely to the hospital. Only then did the doctor wave his hand to wipe off the cold sweat on his body. Seeing that the medical staff had already escorted Master Hang to his hospital, the doctor wiped away the cold sweat on his forehead and said to everyone, "Phew, as long as he's sent to the hospital on time, there won't be any major problems. The patient's condition is very serious. Fortunately, you called us over and didn't reach out to help him or touch his body. Otherwise, he might have died on the spot." Even this doctor let out a soft sigh of relief, let alone the others. Especially the colleague of Master Hang who had scolded Yun Jian with exaggerated words just now. Although that person was unreasonable, he didn't want Master Hang to die at all, nor did he dare to do so. After hearing the doctor's words, the man still looked at the doctor in disbelief as he asked in a trembling tone, Doctor, is it true that old Hang couldn't be moved just now?" It was obvious that this person did not know anything about medicine. The doctor glanced at this person and said, "That's right. In layman's terms, if you touch him, it's very likely that the patient who is in the middle of a myocardial infarction will die on the spot. In that case, the young lady really knows medicine. At this moment, someone looked at Yun Jian with a slightly surprised gaze. At this moment, everyone's gaze shifted to Yun Jian. When they saw that Yun Jian was only 16 or 17 years old and wasn't even an adult, everyone was shocked and frightened. Chapter 1251. Everyone was scared out of their wits. That was a human life. If it wasn't for Yun Jian, perhaps Master Heng would have already. At the thought of this, everyone shuddered violently. Without a doubt, what happened just now had a huge impact on everyone present. Even this group of old masters were scared half to death, not to mention Lin Hui, Xiong Yushu, and the other youngsters. At this moment, the group of youngsters led by Lin Hui were all in a daze. Their expressions were no different from being petrified. Their entire bodies were frozen on the spot, unable to move. "Young lady, it's all thanks to you just now." When the doctor found out that it was Yun Jian who stopped the masters from attacking Master Heng, saving him from the ordeal, he thanked Yun Jian on Master Heng's behalf. "You don't have to thank me. It's just a small matter," Yun Jian said calmly. After that, she turned around and left with Ce. "Hey, can the two of you wait?" Xiong Yushu only caught up after Yun Jian and Ce had walked quite a distance away. He looked at Ce, then looked at Yun Jian. Then, he said to Yun Jian in a worshipful tone, "You're so good at driving a yacht. I don't have any other intentions. I just want to know where you learned it from. Where did you learn to drive a yacht so well?" Whether it was Master Heng, Xiong Yushu, or Lin Hui, they were all just passers-by on a journey. Everyone had their own living space and world. As long as they returned to their own living space or world, they would never meet these passers-by again. If they were fated to meet a passerby on a journey, it wasn't impossible for them to help them. Yun Jian pursed her lips and smiled. Ce could feel that Xiong Yushu wasn't interested in Yun Jian. He only wanted to ask about Yun Jian's strength. Therefore, other than telling Yun Jian and Xiong Yushu not to get too close, he didn't stop them and just stood quietly at the side. However, he saw Yun Jian curl her lips slightly and smile at Xiong Yushu. After a 2-second pause, Yun Jian spoke faintly and said in a joking tone, "Self-taught, self-taught." After that, Yun Jian reached out and took Ce's hand. Then, she pulled Ce towards where Qin Yiru and the others were. Xiong Yushu stood where he was, watching Yun Jian's receding figure in a daze for a few seconds. After a while, Xiong Yushu said, "Isn't she a genius, this time, Xiong Yushu really?" His uncle had been learning how to sail for 20 years, but he still couldn't beat a teenage girl. Of course, of course, of course. At that moment, Xiong Yushu, of Yun Jian, of his mind. That was the worship of the strong. Yun Jian dragged Ce's hand back to the shallow sea area where Qin Yiru and Gu Junjian were. The shallow sea area by the sea was a sacred place for children to play. Because the sea was shallow, even if the children went into the water, the adults would watch from the side and not let the children fall into the water. It could be said that it was a safe and fun place. Yun Jian, who was dragging Ce's hand, walked back to the beach like a teenage girl. From afar, she saw Xiao Yunju, Duanli, and Duanya lying on the sand on the beach. They were holding plastic cups in one hand and squatting on the ground. "Shoo, don't talk. Otherwise, the little crabs won't come out." Xiao Yunju was like a little adult as he took charge of the order. Duanli and Duanya also started to shush each other. Yun Jian dragged Ce over. Xiao Yunju raised his head and was about to say something when he saw Yun Jian dragging Ce over. Xiao Yunju had just found a little crab's hole. However, when he saw Yun Jian and Ce, he immediately stepped on the little crab's hole. The poor little crab's hole was blocked by Xiao Yunju. Xiao Yunju was already running over with Duanli and Duanya. At the same time, he said coquettishly, "Sister, brother Ce." Xiao Yunju tactfully rushed into Ce's arms. Duanli and Duanya, on the other hand, rushed into Yunjian's arms. Yunjian reached out to ruffle their hair. Seeing such a harmonious scene, her words softened. Did you have fun? Yes, yes. This is the first time I've been to the beach. Sister, we're all so happy. Duanli held Yunjian's hand and said excitedly. Hee, brother Ce, can you take us to eat ice cream? We're so thirsty. Xiao Yunju shook Ce's hand and said coquettishly. Okay. Ce immediately agreed. After informing Qin Yiru and Gu Junjian, Yunjian and Ce each held Duanli and Duanya's hands and walked to a nearby ice cream shop. This ice cream shop was famous for being expensive, but it was also the only ice cream shop within a radius of 8 miles. When Yunjian and Ce brought Xiao Yunju and the other two into the shop and sat down, suddenly, another group of people entered the shop. Yunjian didn't look carefully. However, she heard someone suddenly shout at her. Hey, it's you guys. What a coincidence. Chapter 1252. Lin Hui, Xiong Yushu, and the others didn't expect to meet Yunjian and Ce again at the ice cream shop. Lin Hui, Xiong Yushu, and the others were shocked by Yunjian's superb yachting skills and her proficient medical knowledge. Now, they even treated Yunjian as their idol. Xiong Yushu felt that he wanted to pretend to be amazing in front of Yunjian and Ce, but he felt embarrassed when he thought about it now. But at this moment, the admiration in her heart was greater than the feeling of embarrassment. Lin Hui, Xiong Yushu, and the others quickly walked over and stood in front of Yunjian and Ce. Lin Hui put her hands behind her back and smiled at Yunjian playfully. Then, she said, Are you here for ice cream too? Do you mind sharing a table? Lin Hui said as she glanced at Xiao Yunju, Duanli, and Duanya. Wow, what a cute little brother and little sister. Lin Hui said as she squatted down to look at Xiao Yunju, Duanli, and Duanya. Okay. Yunjian didn't refuse. This was because she saw that Xiao Yunju, Duanli, and Duanya seemed very curious when they saw Lin Hui and the others. It wasn't bad to let Xiao Yunju, Duanli, and Duanya see more people and the world. Then we won't stand on ceremony, Lin Hui said as she took the lead and sat down. After chatting for a while, they found out that Lin Hui's family was in the north. She, Xiong Yushu, and the others all came from the north. Xiong Yushu's uncle was from the south. When Xiong Yushu was 16, he came to the south for a summer vacation and learned how to sail at his uncle's house. At this point, the ice cream that everyone had ordered was served. The ice cream in this shop was very big, but the price was very expensive. Obviously, since Lin Hui and the others came to the shop, it meant that their family background wasn't bad. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come all the way from the north for a vacation. The ice cream here was eaten with a spoon. Once, she accidentally got some ice cream on the side of her mouth when she scooped it into her mouth with the spoon. Ce didn't say anything. When he saw it, he immediately reached out and gently wiped the ice cream off Yunjian's mouth. This action warmed the hearts of Lin Hui and the others. Even Lin Hui couldn't help but say, You two are so loving. And from the first time I saw the two of you, I felt that the two of you were very compatible, Lin Hui just wanted to express her thoughts. She didn't mean anything else. When Yunju heard Lin Hui's words, he shook his head left and right before blinking his beady eyes at Lin Hui and said seriously, I'm not sure if you'll be able to do anything to me. Sister and brother Ce often play kissing games, and they don't even let us watch. Our classmate, Xiao Hui, said that they were hiding from us and secretly making love. Xiao Yunju pursed his lips and said in a very innocent manner. Chapter 1253. Ce's words were enough to cause misunderstandings. Yunjian blushed slightly when she heard Ce's words. Lin Hui, Xiong Yushu, and the others were also stunned. When they came back to their senses, their expressions changed slightly. However, most of them were a little embarrassed. At that moment, everyone felt that Siyi's words were really embarrassing and full of possessiveness. Furthermore, he had said it so confidently as if he was afraid that others wouldn't know that there was something going on between him and Yunjian. But to be honest, just the fact that Yunjian and Ce were so compatible was enough to make Lin Hui, Xiong Yushu, and the others envious. Yunjian reached out and snatched the spoon back from Ce's hand. She didn't look down on the spoon that Ce had eaten and her face was slightly red. "I'm not giving it to you." Yunjian lowered her head and scooped another mouthful of ice cream. Her cheeks were slightly red as she spoke to Ce. When Ce heard this, he felt that she was acting coquettishly. Ce couldn't help but smile. Cough cough cough. Did you guys know that there will be a surfing competition at the beach later? Let's go and watch, shall we? Xiong Yushu stood up and said softly to ease the awkwardness. As he spoke, Xiong Yushu rubbed his mouth with his hand. Surfing? Little brother, is surfing the kind where people stand on a wooden board and rush around in the sea? Xiao Yunju thought for a while and asked cleverly. When he heard Xiao Yunju's analogy, Xiong Yushu quickly nodded. Yes. I want to go, I want to go. When Xiao Yunju heard this, he quickly ran over and shook Yunjian's hand. Then, he said coquettishly, "Big sister, can you take us to watch the surfing? Our teacher talked about surfing in class before." "I want to watch it." Since Xiao Yunju had spoken, Yunjian naturally wouldn't disagree. She pursed her red lips and immediately agreed, "Okay." Upon hearing that Yunjian had agreed, Xiao Yunju and the other two were overjoyed. After finishing their ice cream, they set off for the beach. Xiao Yunju and the other two were no longer as mischievous as before. Perhaps it was because she had eaten a large bowl of ice cream. Since it was Xiong Yushu's suggestion, he led everyone to the beach where the surfing competition was going to take place. The beach here was not shallow, so Yunjian and Ce held tightly onto Xiao Yunju, Duanli, and Duanya's hands, afraid that the three children would run away. There was a lot of traffic on this beach because there was going to be a surfing competition. The beach, which was originally big enough for a person to run all over the place, was now so crowded that one could only walk slowly. Thus, Yunjian had to hold on to Xiao Yunju, Duanli, and Duanya even more tightly. Xiong Yushu, who was leading the team, finally found an empty spot to watch the competition. He had just called Yunjian and the others over when Yunjian narrowed her eyes and saw a familiar face in the crowd. Yunjian leaned against Ce and whispered to him, "Mad Dragon is here." She had arranged to meet Mad Dragon on the boat island, and they had just set the location here. However, Yunjian didn't expect it to be so crowded at first. "Hey, you guys come and play." Lin Hui saw the lively scene and waved her hand to signal Yunjian and Ce to bring Xiao Yunju and the other two over. However, Ce suddenly leaned over and whispered into Yunjian's ear. Chapter 1254. Ce did not know if Lin Hui had turned around, nor did he want to know. He did not want to know about other people's affairs. He only cared about his Xiao Jian. Ce lowered his head and pressed his lips softly to Yunjian's earlobe, ignoring the curious gazes of the people around them. He spoke softly, speaking words that no one around them could hear. Everyone thought that Ce was saying something flirtatious to Yunjian. In fact, Ce had only whispered to Yunjian, "Xiao Jian, do you want Mad Dragon to join the Kosha mercenaries?" It sounded like a question, but Ce had basically confirmed Yunjian's plan. As expected, Yunjian nodded softly after hearing Ce's question. She had only invited Mad Dragon to meet her on Zhoudao because of one thing. She wanted Mad Dragon to join the Kosha mercenaries and expand the Kosha mercenaries' capabilities. Although the Kosha mercenaries' reputation was not to be underestimated internationally, the Kosha mercenaries were still not strong enough. At least, that was what Yunjian thought. A person, an organization, could not stay where they were forever. To achieve greater success, they had to take the big step bravely. Yunjian was never satisfied with the status quo because she knew that she was not good enough. There would always be someone better than her. She had to be the powerhouse who held up the entire mountain in order to protect the people she wanted to protect. Kosha mercenaries would never reject talents, what more an elite like Mad Dragon. It was true that Kuang Long's capability was not on par with Yun Jian's, in fact, they were miles apart. However, if Kuang Long was poached by other forces in the future, it would only be an additional enemy and danger to Gu Sha mercenaries. Therefore, Yun Jian planned to invite Mad Dragon to join the Kosha mercenaries. Stay here and accompany Xiao Zhu and the others. Have fun. I'll handle this. Ce had already straightened his body and looked up. He had one hand in his pocket as he spoke in his rich masculine voice. There were many people walking around, but no matter how beautiful Yun Jian and Ce were, no one would stop to watch them or eavesdrop on their conversation like they were monkeys. Therefore, Ce did not lower his voice when he said the latter part. You. Yun Jian looked up and pressed her lips together. She was surprised, but there was a faint warmth in her heart. Mad Dragon was now a member of the Enhun organization. Why was this so? It was because all the assassins and agents of the Enhun organization had worked for the organization. In her previous life, Yun Jian had also worked for the Enhun organization for a few years. When she became strong enough, she became the first person to leave the organization. However, Mad Dragon had not completely left Enhun organization. In fact, Enhun organization did not participate in these things. In Enhun organization, as long as you completed the mission, you could leave the organization. Moreover, Enhun organization had never stopped any capable assassins or agents from leaving their control. Yun Jian was the only agent who had completed all the missions given by Enhun organization and left Enhun organization. This was because none of the assassins and agents who wanted to leave Enhun organization to complete their missions lived to see the day they left. However, Yun Jian believed that Mad Dragon could do it. This was because Mad Dragon was strong enough. Yun Jian was touched because Mad Dragon was still a member of Enhun organization. Yun Jian only wanted Mad Dragon to reach an understanding with her and wait for Mad Dragon to leave Enhun organization before officially joining the Kosha mercenaries. However, Ce's words were, just as Yun Jian said the word you, Ce suddenly reached out and hugged her waist. There seemed to be light in his eyes. Under his handsome face, the corners of his lips were slightly raised. His eyes only reflected her. Other than that, there was nothing else. Chapter 1255. He could give up everything, even Enhun group. He only wanted her. He had never thought that he would meet a woman who he could give up his life for, a woman he wanted to hold in his arms and make her belong to him alone. Ce hated women to the core, to the point where he shuddered at the mere sight of them. He thought that he was destined to be alone and had never yearned for love, much less yearned for it. However, fate had brought him to meet his Xiao Jian. Once Ce loved someone, it was for life. It was impossible for him to let go. She was his woman, so he naturally had to hold her in the palm of his hand. Yun Jian blushed when she heard Ce's last sentence. Ce's words touched her to the core. If it were not for the crowd, she would have hugged him. Take Xiao Zhu and the other girls and wait for me here, Ce said as he rubbed Yun Jian's silky hair gently. Yun Jian did not reject him now as she nodded at Ce. Ce then turned to leave through the crowd. Xiao Yunju clapped and exclaimed, "Wow!" Ce Gij touched Jiejia's hair like he's touching mine. Just as Xiao Yunju said that, Lin Huai peeked over again, only to see Ce leaving. Lin Huai was suspicious, but she still walked over to Yun Jian. "Where's your boyfriend?" "Heh, I'll hold your brother's hand for you. Look after your two younger sisters. We'll stand here, the surfing competition is starting soon." Lin Huai asked nosily before going to Yun Jian with a grin. Lin Huai was only helping Yun Jian hold Xiao Yunju's hand out of kindness, preventing Xiao Yunju from being pushed or trampled in this crowded place. "Thank you." Yun Jian thanked Lin Huai with a smile. Lin Huai was being kind after all. "Huh, you're welcome." Lin Huai was flattered, scratching her head and saying nothing else. At the same time, someone at the beach announced the start of the competition through the microphone. Thank you to all the tourists who came to watch the competition. Due to the crowd, we hope that all of you can watch the competition from a safe place. Thank you. Let the competition begin. Not long after CE left, the surfing competition was about to begin. CE walked towards the center of the crowd with one hand in his pocket. His tall figure attracted a lot of attention as he walked towards the center of the crowd. Under everyone's gaze, CE walked to the center of the crowd. He reached out and grabbed the collar of a man who had his back facing him. Without even saying a word, he dragged the man by the collar to an empty corner. Mad Dragon was suddenly grabbed by the collar by CE. He didn't know that the person who grabbed his collar was CE, so he was furious. He was the god of war, Mad Dragon, ranked 3rd on the International Secret Service rankings. How could he be dragged by the collar today after being defeated yesterday? Mad Dragon tried to break free, but he realized that his strength, which was enough to intimidate countless international masters, was useless in front of the person who grabbed him by the collar. CE dragged Mad Dragon to an empty beach before he threw Mad Dragon to the ground. Chapter 1256. It was the man who had been standing next to SS. Mad Dragon's expression changed drastically. Mad Dragon had met CE at the beach yesterday. Of course, that was because CE was standing next to Yun Jian. More importantly, the 3 leaders of Enhan were there as well. Therefore, Mad Dragon had suspected that CE was most likely the leader of Enhan. Mad Dragon did not know whether CE was the leader of Enhan or not. In Enhan, other than the 4 leaders, no one else had seen the leader of Enhan. Even Slaying God did not know that CE was the leader of Enhan. If CE had not admitted it, Yun Jian would not even know where to start investigating. No matter how good Yun Jian was, she would not be able to find out who the leader of Enhan was. Mad Dragon's expression changed drastically, but he did not lose his footing. It was undeniable that Mad Dragon was stronger than all of Yun Jian's opponents and teammates. And for a powerful person, being calm and unhurried after encountering a situation was the most basic. Mad Dragon could not confirm that CE was the leader of Enhan just by looking at the 3 leaders of the organization. After all, Enhan had existed for so many years. It was hard for him to believe that the leader of Enhan was a young man who was about his age or even 2 years younger than him. To be honest, it was not that Mad Dragon did not believe it, but he was slightly doubtful. Mad Dragon. Just as Mad Dragon was frowning and trying to guess CE's identity, CE's voice interrupted him. Mad Dragon frowned and looked at CE when his name was called. As a professional agent, Mad Dragon did not respond to CE. I'll give you 3 days. Enhan will let you go as long as you join the Kosha mercenaries within 3 days, CE made his intentions clear. He never bothered to beat around the bush with people because he didn't have the time to talk nonsense with people. You. Mad Dragon's eyes widened and he was completely shocked by CE's words. CE's 3 simple sentences summed up a lot of things. For example, he had indirectly mentioned that he was the leader of Enhan. Other than the 4 leaders of Enhan, no one else could make the decision to release any of Enhan's secret agents or assassins. Except for the leader of Enhan. Remember to voluntarily join the Kosha mercenaries after leaving Enhan. Otherwise, you should know how Enhan deals with traitors. CE did not waste any more time and said simply. Mad Dragon gulped, and when he regained his senses, CE had already walked away. Just as he took 2 steps forward, CE suddenly thought of something and turned to the side. Even Mad Dragon, who was also a man, could not help but admit his inferiority when he looked at his flawless face. Remember, that's my woman. Don't stand within 3 meters of her when you see her in the future. Otherwise, you will become the number 1 person on Enhan's must-kill list. CE raised his eyebrows slightly and said without any change in his expression. The people on Enhan's must-kill list were the wanted criminals of Enhan. As long as they were on Enhan's must-kill list, the assassins, or special agents of Enhan had to kill them as soon as they saw them. The number 1 person on Enhan's must-kill list was wanted by the entire Enhan. Even if they did not die, it was definitely not a joke. Chapter 1257. That was a fate worse than death. Mad Dragon's face had darkened to the point of no return. I will definitely head to the Kosha mercenaries within 3 days, Anne. I promise I won't get within 3 meters of her. Mad Dragon was sweating profusely. But on the surface, his expression didn't change at all. However, no one could have imagined that Mad Dragon's heart was so shaken that it was unrecognizable. Big news. Big news. The boss of the Kosha mercenaries, the #1 international secret agent, was actually together with the leader of the Enhun organization who had trained her. Just the fact that CE forbade him from getting close to Yun Jian or he would be marked as the top figure on Enhun's must-kill list was enough to scare Wild Dragon. He wouldn't dare to touch SS even if he died. She was the leader of the Enhun organization. After hearing Mad Dragon's promise, CE smirked. He didn't say anything else and walked towards where Yun Jian and Xiao Yunju were. At this moment, Yun Jian was holding Duan Li and Duanya's hands, while Lin Huai was helping Yun Jian hold Xiao Yunju's hand. They were standing at their original spot watching the surfing competition. Wow, sister and the others are so awesome. I want to be as awesome as them when I grow up. Xiao Yunju was still young, so his words weren't true. Children only like to dream of their own dreams, but they didn't know the cruelty of reality. That was the benefit of being a child. Children didn't need to think too much about the trivial matters of the world. Just like Xiao Yunju, he could say whatever he wanted without any taboos. Xiao Zhu will definitely be so awesome when he grows up. Yun Jian patted Yunju's head with her hand that was holding Duan Li's before taking Duan Li's hand again. Heh. Yunju stuck his tongue out at him. By the time CE returned, the surfing competition was already halfway through. CE accompanied Yun Jian to watch Xiao Yunju and the other 2 surfing competition. It was already past 4 in the afternoon. Because the latest cruise from Zhou Dao back to Ning City was at 5 p.m., they had to prepare to return at this time. Lin Hui, Xiong Yushu, and the others planned to stay on the island and play for a day before going back. Yun Jian said goodbye to Lin Hui and the others, and then said goodbye at the Boat Island's pier. This goodbye usually lasted for a lifetime. By the time Yun Jian and Qin Yiru returned to Ningxia's house in Ning City, it was already 6:00 in the evening. Ningxia's mother politely prepared a sumptuous dinner. Everyone had dinner in harmony. They were ready to depart for Longmen City early the next morning. Ningxia and Ningxia's mother even said in a friendly manner that Yun Jian, Qin Yiru, and Mrs. Yang's family would definitely come to Ning City again. They returned to Longmen City after saying their goodbyes. Their return to Longmen City this time was different from before. There was an additional person, Si Luo. Si Luo and Qin Yu got along well, so he wanted to stay at Qin Yu's house when they arrived in Longmen City. Heh, you can't go wrong staying at my house. Don't you think so, Sister Jian? Qin Yu asked Yun Jian when she dragged Si Luo to her house. That's great. Yun Jian narrowed her eyes. Her hair was loose today, but it was not tied up with a headband. They were still on the bus on the way back. A cool breeze blew outside the window, blowing Yun Jian's hair up. There was a lingering fragrance in her hair that was pleasing to the nose. But I have a little idiot who's noisy every day at home. You have to get used to it. Her name is Gu Nian. Qin Yu chuckled and introduced her to Si Luo. Si Luo did not know how to say anything else, but he was already grateful that Qin Yu was willing to take him in. Shuang could not take it anymore. He rushed up from the back seat to grab Si Luo's wrist and told Qin Yu, "Brother Jian, let's go." Chapter 1258. When Shuang said that, not only were the people on the bus stunned, even Shuang himself was stunned. However, Shuang was different from the others. If it had been someone else who had accidentally said something so awkward, they would have tried to change the topic. However, Shuang was taken aback. He then grabbed Si Luo's hand and leaned against the backrest of Si Luo's seat confidently, continuing to reason with Qingyu in front of everyone on the bus. She came back with me. I should be the one to take her in. Why are you snatching her away from me? Shuang sounded quite confident. Then, he added after a pause, besides, she's the one who begged me to take her in. You can ask her yourself if you don't believe me. Shuang was still trying to act innocent. Not only did he want to snatch her away, but he also wanted Si Luo to admit that she was the one who wanted to follow him. As he spoke, Shuang tugged at Si Luo's wrist, intending to get her to speak. Si Luo thought that Yun Jian was the boss here, so she turned to look at Yun Jian. Si Luo thought that Yun Jian was the boss because Ce had to listen to Yun Jian here. If Yun Jian wanted to go east, Ce would not dare to go west. After glancing at Yun Jian, she saw Yun Jian grinning at her. Si Luo pouted and turned her head back. She shrunk her neck in fear and glanced at the scar on Shui Ying's neck before shifting her gaze back to Qingyu. I think I should stay with Qingyu. Shuang grabbed Si Luo's wrist tightly. She was terrified, but still, she mustered up her courage to speak her mind. She shrunk her neck just as Si Luo finished speaking, afraid that Shuang would scold her. The scar on Shui Ying's neck was horrifying. Si Luo was truly terrified. If she were to see Shuang in the middle of the night at his house, it would really be. On the other hand, Qingyu was different. Qingyu was so pretty and would protect her. More importantly, Qingyu mentioned that she had a silly girl at home who was a troublemaker named Gu Nianji. This way, she would not feel bored staying in Qingyu's house. So she still chose to. Damn, you're actually planning to do it with her? No, this won't do. You came back with me, so you have to come with me. Shui Ying's grip tightened. In the end, Shuang dragged Si Luo to his house. Shuang stayed in Longmen City for a day upon his return before rushing back to Anhun Group. Shuang was supposed to leave with Lin Wei when they left Longmen City, but he was different today as he left with Si Luo. Si Luo had wanted to stay in Longmen City, but she dared not resist Shui Ying's tug. She could only shrink her neck and leave with Shuang under Qingyu and Yunjian's cheers. Oh God, Si Luo is so pitiful. Don't you think so, Sister Jian? Qingyu shook her head, standing at the bus stop to send Shuang and the others to the airport. I think so. Yun Jian turned to give Qingyu a half-smile and went to Ce, who was standing not too far away. The next few days were very ordinary. With Ce's company for the past few days, Yun Jian's days were anything but ordinary. The third Global Underground Tea Party would be held in a few days' time. To put it bluntly, it was a gathering of the world's underground secret agents and assassins. 3 days before the Underground Tea Party, Yun Jian had a month of peaceful summer vacation. In the blink of an eye, it was almost August. 3 days before the tea party, Yun Jian was asked to attend the graduation ceremony of Junior 3 Class A. The graduation ceremony was held on the 29th of July this time. It was a little late since it was a last-minute event. Chapter 1259. Zhang Xiaofeng was waving at Yun Jian with all his might. Chen Sini, on the other hand, had her hands gently cupped by her lips, using this as an excuse to shout at Yun Jian from afar. It had been a few days since Yun Jian had seen Zhang Xiaofeng and Chen Sini, this pair of buffoons. She couldn't help but reveal a faint smile. Hey, it's so embarrassing for the two of you to shout here and there. We have to maintain our poise. Ling Yichen, who was standing beside Zhang Xiaofeng and Chen Sini, coolly flipped his short hair that couldn't be flipped. Then, he struck a cool pose. Screw you. We're all on the same side. Stop pretending. Zhang Xiaofeng slapped Ling Yichen's cool pose away. You're not from our class, yet you're attending our graduation ceremony with us. Aren't you ashamed? Zhang Xiaofeng rebuked Ling Yichen with his master, Yun Jian, backing him up. It's not like I'm the only one from another class who's here to join in the fun. Didn't the other students in your class also invite their classmates who aren't from your class to attend your graduation ceremony? Ling Yichen eloquently rebutted Zhang Xiaofeng. Hey, I say, you're acting all high and mighty when a classmate from another class comes to attend our graduation ceremony. Zhang Xiaofeng joked as he bickered with Ling Yichen. However, before the two of them could finish their bickering, Yun Jian's cold voice rang out, "If the two of you say another word, I'll make you walk backwards right now." Hearing his master's words, Zhang Xiaofeng quickly shrank back. Ling Yichen was also shaken by Yun Jian's imposing manner. Zhang Xiaofeng and Ling Yichen believed in Yun Jian's words very much, so the two of them immediately stopped talking. "Ha ha ha. My Jian Jian is the best," Chen Sini said as she hooked her arm around Yun Jian's and stuck her tongue out at Zhang Xiaofeng and Ling Yichen. "Everyone is here, right? We can go to the hotel for lunch." The person who organized the graduation ceremony was Yun Jian's class study committee member, Lin Yeqian. Lin Yeqian was a very ordinary-looking girl, but she was very good at her studies and had excellent organizational skills. It was just that she was usually very quiet and didn't like to talk much. In school, Lin Yeqian always wore her school uniform. Today, she had changed into a white dress, which made her look like a fairy. "Sure thing, study commissary, as you wish." Zhang Xiaofeng was at ease, entering the hotel with Yun Jian and the others with a chuckle. Today, the graduation ceremony of the students had even called their teachers over. At this time, the results of the middle school exams were already out. After entering high school, the students would go their separate ways. After entering the private room of the hotel, Yun Jian followed Zhang Xiaofeng and the others to a table. There were 3 to 4 tables set up around them in the same room. This was also to make it easier for the class reunion. After Yun Jian sat down, a few of the rowdier boys in the class started to kick up a fuss. "Hey, don't leave later. Qi Xiaoxiao's boyfriend from our class will be here later. Her boyfriend is the young master of Prosperous Fountain Company in Zhe Province. His family is filthy rich. Qi Xiaoxiao said later that she'll get her boyfriend to bring her to Longmen City's racecourse for horseback riding. It's free for all of us. Prosperous Fountain's young master is treating us, heh heh." Right after the rowdy boys finished speaking, the girl named Qi Xiaoxiao, who had been quite obedient in school, was already wearing a thick layer of makeup. It hadn't even been 2 months since she left school, but she was already wearing heavy makeup. Today, she was even wearing a pink miniskirt with a lot of rouge and face powder on. Qi Xiaoxiao stood up and said proudly, "It's not that exaggerated. My boyfriend's family is only worth tens of millions." A net worth of tens of millions was an unimaginable amount in 1999. Chapter 1260. Upon hearing Qi Xiaoxiao's words, both the male and female students gasped in shock. "Wow! Qi Xiaoxiao, your boyfriend's family is so powerful? He's already worth tens of millions." A girl exclaimed at Qi Xiaoxiao with sparkling eyes. Just as the girl finished, another boy chimed in, "Qi Xiaoxiao's status now is different from before. She's the future madam of Prosperous Fountain Company. The entire company should be hers in the future." When the boy said that, there was another round of, "Oh," from the crowd. Qi Xiaoxiao was even more smug when she heard what the boy said. Coincidentally, the boy added, "Qi Xiaoxiao, don't forget us when you're successful in the future." The latter part of his words elicited gasps from the crowd. Yun Jian's identity as an advanced special forces soldier was shocking, but compared to Qi Xiaoxiao, who was likely to be the future madam of Prosperous Fountain Company, the students preferred to suck up to her. It was because Qi Xiaoxiao would become rich. People were all very realistic. In the face of benefits, reputation was not worth mentioning at all. Qi Xiaoxiao picked up a cup of tea and downed it like a rich lady amidst everyone's praises and adulation. Yun Jian was not affected by the atmosphere as she was chatting with Chen Sini and her friends at the corner of the dining table. "Master, you'll be studying outside the city after you go to the military school. You must come back to visit us in the future," Zhang Xiaofeng said reluctantly. After all, it was almost a year of friendship. It was not something that could be forgotten so easily. "Yeah, Jian, we're studying in high school in Longmen City. You're out of Longmen City now and going to a high school outside. You must come back to visit us when you're free. Chen Sini said, gripping Yunjian's hand tightly. Yeah, me too. Xiaofeng, Sini, and I got into the same high school. Ling Yichen chimed in. Looking at their expectant gazes, Yunjian nodded and smiled. Yes, I will. Come to think of it, the first friends she made when she left Xinjiang town and came to Longmen City were Zhang Xiaofeng and Chen Sini. Ling Yichen had gotten to know her not too long after that. Up until today, the three of them had been by his side. However, Yunjian knew that all good things must come to an end, just like Lu Fian. When they would meet, they would always meet. A person had to walk their own path in life. No one could accompany them to the end because everyone's lifespan and experience were different. No one could be sure. My boyfriend is here. At this moment, Qi Xiaoxiao, who was sitting at the table next to Yunjian's, suddenly looked at the door excitedly. Then, she stood up and ran over. To Qi Xiaoxiao, the only reason she could change was because of her boyfriend. Moreover, she had a boyfriend now, so she had become more confident. Back in school, Qi Xiaoxiao was an ugly girl who did not know how to dress up. Now that she was out of school, she knew how to dress up and put on makeup. Now, she could even boldly reveal her boyfriend's assets humbly, eliciting gasps from the people around them. Qi Xiaoxiao was very satisfied with this feeling. Yunjian did not look up, but Chen Sini and the others looked over. A man in his early 20s wearing a pair of ripped pants stood at the door, thinking that he looked cool. It was obvious that he was a delinquent. Chapter 1261. Qi Xiaoxiao pulled on the man named Lin Zihang and boasted to the crowd. As expected, Qi Xiaoxiao's boasting was effective. Just as Qi Xiaoxiao finished her words, the students around them went into an uproar. What? Qi Xiaoxiao, is what you said true? Your boyfriend is footing the bill for everything we've spent today? Someone asked Qi Xiaoxiao in disbelief. When Qi Xiaoxiao saw that everyone was so shocked, she was very satisfied that everyone was looking at her with such an expression. Therefore, Qi Xiaoxiao didn't even want to pay attention to those who were looking at her with such an expression. Qi Xiaoxiao hooked her arm around Lin Zihang's and said coquettishly like a little girl, Zihang, don't you think so? We're footing the bill today. It's just this much anyway. Your allowance for half a day is enough. It turned out that Lin Zihang had not agreed to it yet. Yunjian did not look up, but she scoffed. Lin Zihang resisted the urge to slap Qi Xiaoxiao, who asked her to spout nonsense and make him foot the bill. In spite of it, Lin Zihang still had to pretend to be a rich young master who did not care about money. Eat as much as you want today. It's all on me. Lin Zihang said through clenched teeth. Then we won't hold back. Haha. Rich people are indeed different. A boy opened his mouth to tease. Everyone was chatting and joking, but most of them were sucking up to Lin Zihang or Qi Xiaoxiao. At this moment, Yunjian's identity as an advanced special forces soldier was insignificant. In spite of it, it was what Yunjian wanted. Halfway through the meal, Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang went out to settle the bill. Since they had to go to Longmen City's racecourse in the afternoon, they had to finish their lunch quickly or they would not have enough time to play. Jian, come with me to the washroom. Chen Sini asked Yunjian as she held her stomach. Yunjian was done eating and had nothing to do now, so she stood up to accompany Chen Sini to the washroom when Chen Sini called her. Hotel washrooms were usually separated into male and female washrooms with sinks. Yunjian didn't go to the ladies' room. She was there to accompany Chen Sini. She stood at the sink and waited for Chen Sini. Suddenly, a very soft conversation could be heard from afar. Yunjian's ears were very sensitive. Although she didn't deliberately listen, she could still hear the conversation coming from the side of the sink and the stairs. Rather than a conversation, it was more like a couple kissing. Zihang. Zihang. Yunjian could tell that it was Qi Xiaoxiao's voice that came from her. Yunjian raised her eyebrows. She leaned against the wall and hid by the staircase, squinting her eyes to look. At the staircase, Qi Xiaoxiao was hugging Lin Zihang and the two of them were kissing happily. He was really thirsty. Yun Jian sneered silently. In this era, there weren't many surveillance cameras installed in hotels, at least not here. Moreover, the staircase where Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang were kissing had no windows. It was dark and gloomy, so not many people used it. Xiaoxiao. Lin Zihang's hand had already reached into Qi Xiaoxiao's clothes naughtily. Don't. Qi Xiaoxiao moaned coyly. The voice sent chills down Yun Jian's spine. Yun Jian squinted when she saw Qi Xiaoxiao stop Lin Zihang's hand and said shyly to him, Zihang, we're already like this. When are you going to get engaged to me? Yun Jian raised a brow. Chapter 1262. Yun Jian could clearly feel Qi Xiaoxiao's shock at Lin Zihang's sudden change in attitude. After all, Qi Xiaoxiao was dating Lin Zihang with the goal of marrying him. Zihang, what did you say? Didn't I already do it with you? Why are you going back on your words? Didn't you say before? Qi Xiaoxiao was dumbfounded. She thought she would really marry Prosperous Fountain Company's young master, Lin Zihang, like what her classmates said. Before? What did I say before? Lin Zihang refused to admit it. Initially, Lin Zihang could still say a few words to coax Qi Xiaoxiao, but when Qi Xiaoxiao said that he would foot the bill for today's class reunion, Lin Zihang changed his mind completely. That wasn't a small sum. What right did she have to make the decision for him? Did she really think that she was his housekeeper? Lin Zihang was thoroughly enraged. But didn't we already? You said that as long as I'm with you, you'll treat me well. What's yours is mine. Qi Xiaoxiao was stunned by Lin Zihang's words. While they were still arguing, Yun Jian had returned to the sink. Just as she did so, Chen Sini's screams came from the washroom. Jian, I didn't bring any tissues. What should I do? Jian, can you help me ask the front desk if there are any tissues? We can see the front desk if we go down the stairs. Chen Sini was upset as she squatted in the washroom and shouted at Yun Jian with her hands covering her face. Okay. Yun Jian nodded faintly. Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang were still arguing by the stairs. Overall, Lin Zihang had the upper hand. Lin Zihang pinched Qi Xiaoxiao's chin and told her, I'm just interested in you and your F***king taking advantage of me? Do you think I have to marry you just because we've slept together a few times? I've always been the one leading you in bed like a dead fish. If you know what's good for you, be good and don't be so shameless. I can still give you face and play with you for a while. Otherwise, I'll make you look bad today. Lin Zihang said fiercely to Qi Xiaoxiao. He had exposed his viciousness in its original form. Revealing his true colors was nothing more than this. Qi Xiaoxiao was shocked by Lin Zihang's ugliness. She originally thought that the matter of her becoming the madam of Prosperous Fountain Company was already set in stone. Now that she had bragged, how was she going to face others in the future? Lin Zihang, how could you do this? You didn't say that before. You said that as long as I was with you, you would treat me well for the rest of my life. You still dare to say that you? Qi Xiaoxiao had only just finished her sentence. Lin Zihang didn't even have time to interrupt Qi Xiaoxiao. At this moment, a figure silently passed by the two of them. Yun Jian didn't make any sound as she stepped on the stairs. She walked past Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang as if she didn't hear their heated conversation and headed downstairs. Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang were arguing just now and Yun Jian didn't make any sound when she walked. Thus, the two of them only noticed Yun Jian when she appeared in front of them. Especially when it was dark on the stairs, Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang were so shocked that they almost fell down when they saw Yun Jian. At this moment, Yun Jian had already walked past Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang and was about to head down the stairs. Qi Xiaoxiao finally saw Yun Jian clearly. When she saw that this person was actually Yun Jian, she was so shocked that her face turned pale. Lin Zihang was also shocked. Nobody wanted their scandals to be spread. Especially people like Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang who were prideful. Yunjian? Stop right there. Qi Xiaoxiao shouted at Yunjian after she saw her clearly. Did Yunjian hear my conversation with Lin Zihang just now? How much did she hear? Yunjian didn't bother with Qi Xiaoxiao. This time, Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang rushed down together and blocked Yunjian's path. Qi Xiaoxiao even pointed at Yunjian and said, Yunjian, stop right there. I told you to stop right there. No one can order me around. Yunjian suddenly looked sideways at Qi Xiaoxiao. Her sharp eyes were filled with murderous intent. Yunjian's words made Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang tremble. Chapter 1263. Yunjian's sudden words made Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang tremble. You, what did you say? Qi Xiaoxiao was shocked by Yunjian's words. Qi Xiaoxiao took 2 steps back at the thought that Yunjian was an advanced special forces soldier. But very quickly, Qi Xiaoxiao was afraid that her scandal with Lin Zihang would be exposed, and she was even more afraid that she had bragged in front of everyone. Many people even said that she could become the future madam of Xingyuan Company. But in such a short time. Lin Zihang didn't want her anymore. That wasn't the main point. The main point was that Lin Zihang wasn't tired of her. This meant that if Qi Xiaoxiao didn't say anything, no one would know. But she had just bragged in front of so many people and Yunjian had seen it. Yunjian heard what she said. How much did she hear? How was she going to face others if this got out? Yunjian, what did you hear? Let me tell you, my boyfriend is the young master of Xingyuan Company. If you dare to say a word about what you just heard, I'll make sure you're in big trouble. Qi Xiaoxiao was obviously scared to death. If people found out that she had slept with Lin Zihang, the main thing was that Lin Zihang didn't want to marry her anymore. If this got out, she would lose all her face. She would definitely be done for. When people talked about her, they would only say that she was a slut. She didn't know how to behave at such a young age. Qi Xiaoxiao was afraid, so she stopped Yunjian from going downstairs, not allowing Yunjian to go downstairs. Yunjian glanced at Qi Xiaoxiao. Yunjian was taller and slimmer than Qi Xiaoxiao. Qi Xiaoxiao was also a little chubby. Lin Zihang stood in the dark corridor of the staircase and couldn't see Yunjian's face clearly, but he knew that Yunjian wasn't bad just by looking at Yunjian's figure. That playboy aura of his was aroused again. Of course, Lin Zihang didn't want his scandal to be exposed. If his father found out that he was fooling around with a woman like Qi Xiaoxiao, his pocket money would be deducted in the future. Thus, Lin Zihang stopped Yunjian from going downstairs and said to Qi Xiaoxiao while panting, "You don't want others to know either, right? Then come over here and help me record it. I'm going to F***ck her right here. Then she's in the same boat as us." Lin Zihang stretched out his hand and threw the phone to Qi Xiaoxiao, thinking that he was suave. Current cell phones didn't have the ability to record, but they already had the ability to record. What, you? Qi Xiaoxiao didn't expect Lin Zihang to say something like that. She was stunned. What else can we do? This was the best way to seal this woman's mouth. Qi Xiaoxiao, hurry up. Lin Zihang roared. Qi Xiaoxiao gritted her teeth. She also felt that this was probably the best way. At this moment, Lin Zihang had already lunged towards Yunjian. Needless to say, Lin Zihang's idea was the safest. If it had been any other girl today, she would have been completely ruined by Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Zihang. Fortunately, the person standing here today was Yunjian. Yunjian narrowed her eyes. There was no light here and she could feel Lin Zihang's hand reaching towards her. Yunjian dodged to the side gently. Then, she kicked Lin Zihang's abdomen and stomped him to the ground. She didn't even lift a finger. She stomped Lin Zihang's body to the ground with her foot alone. The entire process took less than 2 seconds. Even in the dark, Lin Ziheng was shocked by Yun Jian's skills. Qi Xiaoxiao suddenly remembered that Yun Jian was an advanced special forces soldier. In the next second, she heard Yun Jian's eerie voice clearly. "Heh, it's so quiet here and no one's walking around. If I kill you now, cut your bodies into 8 pieces and throw them into a gunny sack and throw them into the stream, will anyone discover your bodies?" Yun Jian's words were terrifying, especially with her skills and in this dark environment. Chapter 1264. Yun Jian didn't waste any more time with Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Ziheng. She didn't intend to bother anyway. Besides, Chen Sini was still waiting for her in the toilet. After Yun Jian finished her sentence, she walked downstairs lazily with her hands in her pockets as if nothing had happened. Qi Xiaoxiao was shocked. Her hands were unsteady just now and she accidentally dropped Lin Ziheng's phone on the floor. However, both Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Ziheng weren't paying attention to this. They were more concerned about whether Yun Jian would reveal what she said just now. Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Ziheng didn't say anything as they watched Yun Jian walk down the stairs towards the front desk on the first floor. After a while, Lin Ziheng shouted angrily at Qi Xiaoxiao, "Hurry and help me up. It hurts so much. Damn it." Qi Xiaoxiao was so shocked that she quickly ran over to help Lin Ziheng up. After all, Qi Xiaoxiao had to coax Lin Ziheng so that her days of being admired would last longer. After helping Lin Ziheng up, Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Ziheng quickly walked towards the room where their classmates were. Although they were afraid that Yun Jian would reveal what she saw just now, Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Ziheng were more afraid that Yun Jian would go back first. Because at least if they went back first, even if Yun Jian wanted to talk nonsense, she wouldn't be able to prove it. For the next period of time, Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Ziheng were in a state of tension. When the classmates talked to Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Ziheng, they could clearly feel that Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Ziheng were distracted. Because they didn't know what was going on, the classmates didn't pay much attention to it. Until Yun Jian and Chen Sini returned from the toilet, Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Ziheng didn't even bother to be polite with their classmates. Their eyes were constantly on Yun Jian. Yun Jian and Chen Sini had just returned to their seats when Zhang Xiaofeng's scolding voice was heard. "Oh, damn, Sini, why did you take so long to go to the toilet? I almost thought you fell into a pit. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll beat you up." When Chen Sini heard this, she was a little petty. She immediately clenched her fist and puckered her lips as she lightly punched Zhang Xiaofeng. Zhang Xiaofeng laughed as he grabbed Chen Sini's fist that was coming at him. He then continued to tease her. "Take it easy, I'm not the same as before. Right now, I have the ultimate technique that Master personally imparted to me. Ha ha ha." With that, Zhang Xiaofeng even waved his hand, pretending to be very domineering. Of course, Zhang Xiaofeng was simply joking. It was just the kind of playful banter between acquaintances. Chen Sini was amused by Zhang Xiaofeng's actions. Even Yun Jian's lips curled into a smile. "Xiao Xiao, why are you looking at Yun Jian over there?" a girl from the next table asked in a strange tone. Suddenly, there was the sound of chopsticks falling to the ground, followed by the sound of Qi Xiaoxiao's messy hands and feet. No, I just think she looks especially good today. I wonder what foundation she's wearing today, haha." From her voice, one could tell that Qi Xiaoxiao was in a panic. The more Yun Jian pretended that nothing had happened, the more Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Ziheng were afraid that she had ulterior motives. However, in reality, Yun Jian didn't want to care about what had just happened. "I don't wear makeup." Yun Jian's cold voice was heard. Her voice was icy, sending chills down one's spine. Qi Xiaoxiao and Lin Ziheng shivered at the same time. Chapter 1265. The awkward atmosphere from before had been resolved by Lin Yeqian. Everyone had already finished eating. Now, they stood up and walked out of the hotel with their friends. Yun Jian, Chen Sini, and the other 2 girls exited the hotel as well. Qi Xiao and Lin Zihang walked out of the hotel arm in arm. However, it wasn't hard to tell that they had a lot on their minds just by looking at their expressions. It's not too far to walk to the racecourse from here. We'll be there in about 20 minutes, Lin Yaqian said methodically as she stood in front of everyone. Our study committee member has spoken. Let's follow her, haha. A few of the more mischievous boys chimed in when they heard Lin Yaqian. Although it was a class reunion, it was mostly a gathering of friends who got along well with them. They were separated into 2s and 3s, but they were all going to the same place. Yun Jian, Chen Sini, Zhang Xiaofeng, and Ling Yichen were close friends, so they went together. Just as they stepped out of the hotel, Yun Jian saw a familiar figure at the entrance. It was Qin Yu. It was obvious that Qin Yu was here for Yun Jian. Yun Jian's lips curled as she went over. Sister Jian, Qin Yu called out to Yun Jian when she saw her. Yun Jian saw Qin Yu as well. She was pulling on a rope that was tied around Gu Nianji's hands, who stood not too far away. Gu Nianji stood on the side with a pout as her hands were tied up. When she saw Yun Jian, Gu Nianji told Yun Jian angrily. Yun Jian, I won't kill you. Let me go. This rope is tied up like I'm a prisoner. I'm a formidable character who can scare a lot of people to death back where I come from. How am I supposed to face this? As she spoke, Gu Nianji tugged on the rope with both hands. Ever since Gu Nianji failed to assassinate Yun Jian the last time, she had completely given up on trying to assassinate Yun Jian. Yun Jian was too strong. She couldn't beat her at all. Therefore, Gu Nianji wanted to return to the Yulong continent. After all, she was from the Yulong continent and was an assassin there. If Gu Nianji had to choose, she wouldn't have been so stupid as to tear up the notice on the billboard and come to Earth to assassinate Yun Jian for the generous reward. She regretted it so much. Where was the medicine for regret? She would definitely be the first to buy it. Seeing that someone had suddenly appeared and was looking for Yun Jian, some of the students who were walking past turned their heads to look at Yun Jian. After all, his classmates had been paying close attention to him. Especially when Gu Nianji was tied up by Qin Yu, it was too eye-catching. However, when they heard what Gu Nianji said to Yun Jian, the boys and girls who were about to walk past them all stopped in their tracks. One of the female students was even quicker than Yun Jian when she asked Gu Nianji, "You want to kill Yun Jian? Murder? Are you kidding me? Or was he acting?" Murder is against the law. Of course, normal people would be shocked to hear what Gu Nianji said. Especially students of this age who were usually more free and lazy. The students who passed by Yun Jian stopped to look at Gu Nianji and Yun Jian. The problem is that I can't beat Yun Jian. I can't kill her. Gu Nianji said innocently, as if she did not feel that murder was wrong. Gu Nianji, who came from the Yulong continent, was just like Lan Su back then. She knew nothing about Earth. Gu Nianji then turned to look at Yun Jian. Yun Jian, let me go. Look at how long Qin Yu's been keeping me locked up. It's so rare for me to get some sunlight today. I feel like I'm turning into a vampire. The surrounding students could not understand what Gu Nianji and Yun Jian were saying. In spite of it, a lot of students had shifted their attention to Yun Jian. The more they could not understand, the more interested they were. Chapter 1266. Then, Yun Jian reached out to ruffle Gu Nianji's raven hair. She smiled and took 2 steps forward. Then, she paused and turned to look at Qin Yu. Both of you, come with us. Qin Yu nodded and followed Yun Jian with the rope that bound Gu Nianji's hands. Gu Nianji pouted but eventually followed Yun Jian with Qin Yu. Halfway through, Qin Yu paused to ruffle Gu Nianji's head like Yun Jian and lowered her head to tease her softly by her ear. Silly Nian Nian. Then, Qin Yu suppressed her laughter and followed Yun Jian. Gu Nianji was speechless. Did she want to die? Why were both of them bullying her? The group of students standing behind him were all dumbfounded. What was going on? Why were Gu Nianji and Yun Jian speaking in such a profound manner? Why did it feel like the two of them were deliberately putting on a show for their classmates to get everyone's attention? Some of the students felt disgusted. They thought that Yunjian was doing this on purpose to get everyone's attention. However, no one exposed her or showed their emotions on their faces. Yunjian's class reunion was also considered a graduation ceremony. Not only were the students from the same class able to attend, but students from other classes and even those who were not from Longmen-e High School could attend as well. Therefore, it did not matter if Qingyu and Gu Nianji were there as well. Qingyu brought Gu Nianji out for a walk today, but she knew that Yunjian's class was having a reunion, so she brought Gu Nianji along to join in the fun. Let's go, let's go. We have to hurry. It's best to get to the racecourse before 12:50 p.m. because we have to pick our favorite horses when we get there later. There'll be a horse race in the afternoon too. Lin Yaqian walked at the front, like a tour guide, leading everyone forward. One had to admit that Lin Yaqian's arrangement was very appropriate. Especially when they were in school, Lin Yaqian, as the study committee member, had displayed extraordinary organizational skills. Therefore, everyone was more than happy to listen to Lin Yaqian's arrangement. Soon, Yunjian and the others arrived at the racecourse. When they arrived at the stud farm, the first thing they saw was the old man who raised the horses. The old man's surname was Zhang. He was already in his 50s or 60s. He had been raising horses for nearly 30 to 40 years. It could be said that he had been focusing on raising horses since he was 16 or 17 years old. He knew horses very well. Right now, Uncle Zhang was helping to manage the entire horse farm. Lin Ziheng obviously knew Uncle Zhang, so Lin Ziheng said a few words to Uncle Zhang in a very smug manner. Then, Uncle Zhang led everyone to choose a horse. Xiao Jian, what horse do you want to pick? Chen Sini was excited as she tugged at Yunjian and asked Yunjian. This type of horse can't fly, so I'm not riding it. Gu Nianji glared at the people who were choosing horses in disdain. All the horses in the Yulong continent could fly. She didn't want this kind of horse. Yunjian curled her lips slightly. I think this horse isn't bad. It's sturdy and strong. It'll definitely run the fastest. I'll choose it. Zhang Xiaofeng was already in front of a horse. He untied the black horse's leash and said, "Let's go." Pfft. A chuckle from a boy suddenly rang out. The guy who suddenly laughed was not Yunjian's classmate. He was probably a friend or relative who had come with one of his classmates. After he was done laughing, he started mocking Zhang Xiaofeng. Chapter 1267. The man spoke in an absolute tone, and his words were full of arrogance. The boy was about 17 or 18 years old. He looked like a high school student, and he should be a relative or friend of one of Yunjian's classmates. After the boy finished speaking, someone immediately said, "Wow, you're Kai Lin's cousin, Kai Yi, right?" When the boy, Kai Yi, heard that someone actually knew him, he nodded very proudly and said, "Yes." "Hey, so you're the cousin who's very good at horse racing that our classmate Kai Lin mentioned. I also heard that you once participated in that provincial horse racing competition and even won the second prize." The classmate who asked Kai Yi just now heard that he was the legendary horse racing master that he had heard of before. Especially now that the horse racing was about to take place, this person worshipped Kai Yi even more. "Hey, I only won the second prize. As long as you persevere like me and race every day for 3 years, it's something that anyone can do." Kai Yi still felt that he didn't have enough firepower, so he said very modestly. Sometimes, the more modest the words were, the more high profile they were. Kai Yi was so modest just to show off his high profile, that was all. Kai Yi's words were heard by more students around him. Therefore, the students praised him one after another. So amazing. Look, people who are amazing are also trained. It's 3 years, and he can persevere like this. He's really amazing. I really admire him. He can be called the school's most handsome guy. The surrounding students began to talk about it, which made Kai Yi even more arrogant. It was as if he was really an amazing person. On this side, Zhang Xiaofeng was angry, but Yun Jian walked to the horse group. She narrowed her eyes and reached out to untie a horse tied to a wooden pole. I'll choose this one. Hey, little girl, this horse is not easy to control. This horse is the fiercest horse here. Anyone who gets on its back will fall off in less than 3 seconds. Only the top horse trainer can barely ride on its back. If you get on it, you'll break your leg. When Uncle Zhang saw Yun Jian untie the horse, he hurriedly ran over to stop her. Uncle Zhang, why don't I try to tame this horse? Although I'm not the best, I've been learning for 3 years. When Kai Yi heard Uncle Zhang's words, he suppressed the restlessness in his heart and walked over to Uncle Zhang from afar. This. Uncle Zhang revealed a troubled expression. Uncle Zhang, don't worry. I can definitely do it. Kai Yi said very confidently. He was just waiting to shine in front of everyone. Okay. Uncle Zhang was silent for 2 seconds before he nodded in agreement. Yun Jian didn't say anything. She just stood there and watched Kai Yi lead the horse in front of everyone. Because of Uncle Zhang's words, the surrounding people tensed up and looked over. Uncle Zhang said that this horse could only be tamed by a top-notch horse trainer. Kai Yi's current actions were obviously a challenge to tame this ferocious horse. Therefore, the surrounding people were attracted over. At the same time, each of them nervously looked at the scene that was about to happen in front of them. Kai Yi felt that the surrounding people were sizing him up. He couldn't wait to show off even more. Therefore, Kai Yi simply grabbed the reins and forcefully stepped on the stirrups to sit on the back of this ferocious horse. Just as he sat on the back of this ferocious horse, the horse roared and shook crazily. Kai Yi was stunned for a few seconds. He desperately grabbed the reins, but in less than 3 seconds, he was thrown to the ground by the horse. Kai Yi endured the pain and quickly stood up. Then, in order to not embarrass himself, he deliberately explained, "This horse is really a ferocious horse. I don't think anyone here can tame it." Just as he said this, everyone saw a small figure flash in front of everyone. They saw Yun Jian quickly step forward. She used 3 seconds to rush to the front of the horse from afar. Then, she fiercely kicked her legs and directly flipped over. She didn't even need to step on the stirrups and directly got on the back of the horse. Then, in the same second, she reached out and grabbed the reins of the horse. The moment the horse roared crazily, she grabbed the reins and used the reins to restrain the restless horse in the shortest time possible. Until the horse was completely quiet and tamed by her. Chapter 1268. Yun Jian's words were loud and clear. Her voice echoed throughout the hall and everyone was stunned. She actually rode on the back of this horse? Didn't they say that this horse was wild? Didn't they say that only the best horse trainers could tame it? Some students stared blankly as Yun Jian mounted the horse. Especially when Kai Yi was thrown off the horse in less than 3 seconds, no one doubted that this was a wild horse. What kind of capability did Yun Jian have to be able to do what she did just now to be able to ride such a dark horse? A few of the boys who had their limelight stolen by Kai Yi just now and were still holding a grudge saw this and clapped their hands and shouted, "Good, good. Yun Jian, good job. You didn't embarrass our Class A." Even though everyone had graduated, they still referred to each other as their class. Kai Yi wasn't from their class, so the boys in Year 3 Class A were extremely displeased when they saw Kai Yi and Lin Zihang being called by their classmates and showing off at their graduation ceremony. They just didn't show it on their faces. When Kai Yi fell off the horse just now, the boys in Yun Jian's class wanted to clap and cheer, but they didn't show it directly. Yun Jian got on the horse after Kai Yi fell off because he couldn't control it. This action was like giving Kai Yi a big slap in the face. Therefore, the group of boys in the class cheered and howled. They were so excited that they couldn't control themselves. Kai Yi was in a hurry to get up just now to explain himself, but he ended up being bullied by Yun Jian. His expression darkened instantly. "Cousin." At this moment, Kai Yi's cousin, Kai Lin, walked up to Kai Yi and handed him a few tissues. Kai Lin was Yunjian's classmate and Kai Yi was here today because of Kai Lin's invitation. After Kai Lin walked over and handed the tissues to Kai Yi, she turned around and looked at the crowd. At the same time, she glared fiercely at Yunjian from the corner of her eye and said, "It's nothing to be able to ride a horse. Horse racing is all about skill. My cousin's horse racing skills were once praised by a national horse racing coach. That coach once represented country Z in an international competition. I heard that he even won a grand prize." Kai Lin said it in a very high-profile manner. She didn't believe that Yunjian was an advanced special forces soldier. This was already unbelievable. Could she be an all-round secret agent? Just like the secret agents in the movies who could blend in with all kinds of professionals without being discovered? Was she an extremely powerful existence? Pfft, wasn't this a joke? How old was she? Kai Lin was very unhappy. She had been unhappy with Yunjian for a long time. That's amazing. Immediately, some girls began to chime in. Oh my God, he is so awesome. He was praised by a national horse racing coach. The girls began to grit their teeth again. At this moment, Yunjian had already firmly restrained the horse. She pulled the reins and led the horse to Gunyanji with ease. She didn't care what the people around her were saying. Yunjian merely smiled and hooked her index finger at Gunyanji, saying, "I'll give you a chance to set you free as long as you choose a horse to race against me." Yunjian's words successfully attracted everyone's attention. Gunyanji made an exaggerated expression when she was called and pointed at the horses before saying, "What, you want me to use this inferior horse that can't fly to race against you? Are you kidding me?" Yunjian and Gunyanji's conversation shocked everyone. Chapter 1269. Kai Lin had one or two friends with her as well. It was easy for girls to get jealous, especially after what Yunjian had just done and said. She had attracted everyone's attention. Therefore, after Kai Lin finished speaking, a few girls immediately followed suit and pointed at Yunjian, Gunyanji, and Qinyu. Yunjian pretended not to hear them. She stared at Gunyanji, the curve of her lips clearly visible. Girls were mostly just talking to other girls. Seeing that Yunjian was not listening, Kai Lin and the girls around her could only give up. Gunyanji felt uncomfortable being stared at by Yunjian. In the end, Gunyanji looked at Yunjian awkwardly and stammered, "Will you really set me free if I win? I'll only give you one chance. I won't wait for it after that." Yunjian crossed her arms and looked at Gunyanji without saying a word. "Fine. Let's compete. Although this horse is a little low class, Gunyanji, don't want to be tied up like a prisoner again." Gunyanji narrowed her eyes. "You two young ladies want to compete in horse racing?" Uncle Zhang walked up to Yunjian and Gunyanji and asked kindly. Yunjian answered. "Young ladies, this is the only racetrack we have here. I'm sure all of you youngsters would want to race, and you don't have much time. Let's see if it's a 5-person race. You two young ladies can still compete." Uncle Zhang opened his mouth to explain. There was only one racetrack here. If these 40 to 50 students from Yunjian's class and their friends and relatives wanted to race one-on-one, there would not be enough time in the afternoon. Although many of them could not even make the horse run while riding, since the students were all here, they would definitely want everyone to experience the feeling of horse racing. "I have no objections." Yunjian didn't have any objections because she only wanted to race with Gunyanji. It had nothing to do with her if someone else got involved. Good. Then we'll add 3 more people for the first round of horse racing. Who wants to participate in the first round? Uncle Zhang heaved a sigh of relief and said to the crowd. "Sister Jian, you two have fun. I won't join in the fun." Qinyu loosened her grip on Gunyanji's arm easily. Finally untied, Gunyanji stretched lazily. "I'll do it." Kai Yi's voice rang out. Then, Kai Yi walked over to them. "Are there any other 2 students who want to compete in the first round?" Why don't you come together? Uncle Zhang nodded towards Kai Yi and said. In the end, two boys who didn't know how to ride horses were pushed out. It could be said that the two of them had never seen a live horse before, let alone know how to ride one. However, the two of them were still brave enough to stand out and give it a try. This was worthy of praise. Thus, Yun Jian, Gu Nianji, Kai Yi, and the two male students each pulled their chosen horses and lined up side by side at the starting line of the horse racing venue. They were ready. Cousin, do your best. You're the best. First place will definitely be yours. Kai Lin stood a distance away and cheered with her hands cupped around her mouth. Hearing his cousin's words, Kai Yi's nervousness calmed down instantly. Speaking of which, Yun Jian was just an ordinary junior high school graduate. Even if she had suppressed the wild horse just now, what did that mean? Thinking of this, Kai Yi turned to lecture Yun Jian and Gu Nianji to calm himself down. Chapter 1270. Not only was Kai Yi lecturing Yun Jian and Gu Nianji directly, it sounded like he was boasting when he said it. He said that he would not let Yun Jian and Gu Nianji win because of his love for horse racing. The reason was very valid. Kai Yi's words indirectly implied that he would definitely win against Yun Jian and Gu Nianji. Yun Jian merely scoffed at Kai Yi's words. Gu Nianji scratched her head and thought to herself, how can there be such a dumb fool on this earth? Is he really dumb or just pretending to be dumb? How dare he say such things in front of her and Yun Jian? Other things aside, Gu Nianji knew that Yun Jian was someone with real ability. At least, it was an indisputable fact that she could not defeat Yun Jian. That was why she was now Yun Jian's captive. Kai Yi coughed dryly when he saw that Yun Jian and Gu Nianji were ignoring him. He was obviously embarrassed. However, the cheers of the girls around him boosted Kai Yi's confidence. The girls around him were shouting. Hey, don't you think this guy is handsome? He is. Didn't Kai Lin say that he won a prize in a provincial horse race? I think he'll be the champion this time. Of course. The people outside had no idea what was happening here. At the same time, in Yun Jian and Ce house, Ce was sitting in the study. Shuang and Immerse, who had returned to Enhan's headquarters, stood before him. Shuang took a step forward with a frown and told Ce, young master, Lin Wei has brought people from the organization here. Their destination is the racecourse in the outskirts of Longmen City. Ce raised a brow, obviously unaware that Yun Jian was at the racecourse. Ce raised a brow and paused before he smirked. No matter what the remnants of the former Inferno Ring are here for, none of them must be left alive today. Yes. Young master. Yes. Young master. Shuang and Immerse nodded after listening. It's about to start. I don't have a whistle here, so I'll use this red flag as a whistle. Once I wave this red flag, the match will begin, Uncle Zhang explained as he stood beside the starting line. No one felt that Uncle Zhang's words were inappropriate. Thus, Kai Yi and the other two quickly prepared themselves for a tense mental state. On the other hand, Yun Jian and Gu Nianji looked relaxed. They didn't look like they were about to compete at all. Seeing this, Kai Yi sneered again and muttered in his heart, that's right. He didn't even feel nervous before the race, and he still wanted to race? It would be strange if he could win. Get ready, everyone. Get ready. Uncle Zhang raised the red flag high and started counting down. Hearing Uncle Zhang's voice, Kai Yi's heart tightened again. He would definitely win, definitely. He even got a place in the Zhe province's horse race. How could he not win against two girls? As for the other two boys, there was no need to even mention them. Just as Kai Yi thought of this, Uncle Zhang roared, begin. At the same time, Uncle Zhang waved the small red flag in his hand. It was only then that Kai Yi tightened his grip on the reins. Just as he was about to whip the horse to get it to run, two silhouettes suddenly appeared. Two silhouettes who were much faster than him were already galloping toward the racecourse on horseback. Seeing this, Kai-E even forgot to whip the horse to gallop as he watched the two silhouettes gallop away in a daze. The crowd from afar saw it as well. Under Uncle Zhang's command, the two silhouettes galloped away on their horses like lightning. Those who mocked Yunjian and Gu Nianji in the beginning widened their eyes in bewilderment. Chapter 1271. Kai-E was stunned from the start as he stood rooted to the ground with the whip in his hand. It was only when Yunjian and Gu Nianji were 10 meters away that Kai-E snapped back to his senses. He immediately chased after them with the whip in his hand. As for the other two boys, because they had never learned how to race horses, the two of them grabbed the reins and pulled. They accidentally drove the horses to a place that was not the racetrack and completely deviated from the racetrack. Of course, none of the students present paid any attention to the two boys. From the moment Yunjian and Gu Nianji charged out of the starting line and left Kai-E in the dust, everyone knew that Kai-E would definitely lose this round. The key now lay in the outcome of Yunjian and Gu Nianji's victory. Of course, at the beginning, it did give everyone a shock. No one had expected Yunjian and Gu Nianji to be so good at it. He actually rushed out of the starting line right from the start and left Kai-E in the dust right from the start. Oh my god, Yunjian and that girl are amazing. Someone began to shout as they watched Yunjian and Gu Nianji charge out. Don't forget that Yunjian is an advanced special forces soldier. She's the slayer of Team Monarch. Someone reminded. The people around them shrieked and exclaimed for Yunjian when they heard it. At that moment, everyone's attention was on Yunjian and Gu Nianji from afar. There was an endless stream of cheers and screams. Kai Lin's face immediately turned pale. How was that possible? How could her cousin, Kai-E, lose to Yunjian and that girl? Look! There! Someone shouted, pointing at Yunjian and Gu Nianji's departing figures. Everyone turned to look. They saw Yunjian holding on to the reins and gradually leaving Gu Nianji behind. Gu Nianji was having a hard time chasing after her. However, it was not hard to tell that Gu Nianji was not to be underestimated. Oh my god, I've been at the racecourse for 30 to 40 years. This is the first time I've seen such an exciting race. Even Uncle Zhang couldn't help but grab the red flag that was used as a whistle to prepare for the start. His entire body tensed up. After all, Uncle Zhang was a professional, so when the people around him heard Uncle Zhang's words, their hearts tightened at this moment. If even Uncle Zhang said so, then how incredible were Yunjian and Gu Nianji. When they were about to reach the finish line, Yunjian and Gu Nianji had maintained their pace one after the other. In the last 10 seconds of the sprint, Yunjian suddenly grabbed the reins and sped up. Gu Nianji had already reached her limit and could no longer speed up. In the last few seconds, Yunjian reached the finish line 5 seconds faster than Gu Nian. As soon as she crossed the finish line, Yunjian jumped. The horse was still galloping. Her jump was a very dangerous move, but Yunjian was able to do it smoothly. With a leap, Yunjian landed on the flat ground and grabbed the reins to rein the wild horse that was about to gallop away. In at most 3 seconds, she had completed this series of actions. Gu Nianji pulled the reins and slowly slowed the horse down from the finish line. By the time Gu Nianji stopped, Yunjian was already looking at her with narrowed eyes. Gu Nianji also jumped off the horse's back. Both of them were very agile and did not match the age of a teenage girl. Everyone around them was dumbfounded. However, they saw Gu Nianji take 2 steps toward Yunjian. She laughed and said to Yunjian, "I admit defeat. Yunjian, from today onwards, I, Gu Nianji, will work for you. Will you take me in?" Chapter 1272. Yunjian's words almost made Gu Nianji vomit blood. She had thought about it for a long time before coming to this decision. Gu Nianji had already made up her mind when the horse race was about to begin. If Yunjian could win against her, she would follow Yunjian. After all, Gu Nianji's ability in Yulong mainland was not to be underestimated. What would she do if she could find someone who was stronger than her on Earth? What else could she do? Of course, she would cling on to her fiercely. She would not leave even if she was chased away to learn from her master. Huh, little captive, it looks like you can't escape. Qin Yu walked over from not far away and giggled. Actually, the starting point was also the ending point. Why was it so? Because starting from the starting point and running one round around the racetrack, one would still end up back at the starting point. At least the racetrack here was built similar to a school's field. The surrounding students all stood rooted to the ground. Other than Kai Lin's group of girls, everyone else was extremely impressed with Yun Jian. Especially Yun Jian's handsome appearance just now. It was exactly the style they wanted. Kai Lin frowned when she saw that her cousin, Kai Yi, did not catch up. She finally could not take it anymore. Now that she saw Yun Jian being admired by her classmates, she was even angrier. However, Kai Lin was smarter. She never showed her disgust towards others on her face. She heard Gu Nianji say that she wanted to follow Yun Jian just now. Here came the question. What did she want to do with Yun Jian? Seizing the opportunity to make things difficult for Yun Jian, Kai Lin immediately walked over. Congratulations on winning. You guys are amazing. Kai Lin said this first, then continued to speak to Yun Jian in front of everyone with a fake smile. What were you guys talking about just now? Why did you say that you want to follow you? What do you want to do? Hey, what you said just now made it sound like you want to mingle with the mafia, just like the Secret Service assassins in the movies. Don't say that in the future. You two are girls after all. Don't be so careless. Fighting for first place with a boy is not something a girl should do. We girls should be gentle and quiet. Otherwise, you won't be able to get married in the future. Kai Lin changed her arrogant tone from before, where she thought Kai Yi would win without a doubt. She deliberately made herself look very calm, then walked up to Yun Jian and loudly lectured them. The onlookers listened to Kai Lin's lecture. That seems to make sense. Therefore, a few girls followed Kai Lin's lead and responded. In the end, it was as if Yun Jian and Gu Nianji had snatched first place from Kai Yi and were in the wrong. Yun Jian sneered and said nothing. Kai Lin glanced at her and thought that Yun Jian was speechless because of her words, so Kai Lin smiled secretly. He thought to himself, what Yun Jian? What advanced special forces? Does she really think she's a gangster? Especially the woman who competed with Yun Jian in horse racing. She even said that she wanted to work for Yun Jian. Did he think he was a gangster? Kai Lin hated the smug look on her face. Especially the way Gu Nianji spoke to Yun Jian. It was as if she was really going to do something big. Just as Kai Lin finished thinking this, 3 or 4 vans drove into the horse track. Then, a group of masked men in black got out of the vans. Originally, everyone looked in that direction out of curiosity. Why were there so many strange people at the horse track? However, when this group of people got out of the vans and ran in front of everyone with all kinds of guns in their hands and surrounded them, Kai Lin and everyone else at the scene felt that something was wrong. It was also at this moment that a burly man who was 2 meters tall and had arms as thick as a copper wall stood in front of everyone. I'll give you 10 seconds. If you don't come out, I'll use the machine gun to kill everyone here. Tai Jin Gang said fiercely. Kai Lin and Yun Jian's classmates, including Kai Yi, Qi Xiao, Lin Zihang and the rest who had just returned from the racetrack, did not know what SS was. They did not even know what SS was. No. No. Don't kill us. We really don't know what SS is. Which one of you is SS? Step forward, we don't want to die, sob sob sob. Some people had already started to cry out in despair. Tai Jin Gang ignored them. He held the machine gun and started to count to 3. Just when everyone was about to pee their pants, a cold female voice, completely unfazed by the horrifying scene, said, Tai Jin Gang, how dare you look for me? Do you want me to kill you? Surrounded by so many people led by Tai Jin Gang, Yun Jian stood up fearlessly and spoke. However, when the surrounding students heard Yun Jian's words, they were almost scared to death. Yun Jian was the SS they were talking about. What did SS mean? And did she know what she was talking about? He had a gun in his hand. She actually dared to talk to him like that. Did she want to die? Chapter 1274. Tai Jin Gang had only received information that SS was at the racecourse. This information was very accurate because it was revealed to Tai Jin Gang by the mysterious person in Yun Jian's eyes. That was why Iron King Kong had brought his men here to kill the SS monster, so as to make a great contribution to the mysterious man. Tai Jin Gang had thought that SS was at least in her 20s no matter how young she was. However, when Yun Jian stood up and spoke, Tai Jin Gang turned his head and looked in her direction. He froze on the spot. The young girl in front of him had delicate features and a beautiful face that made him feel mesmerized from the bottom of his heart. That petite face, coupled with that perfect figure, was a perfect match for the golden ratio. The young girl in front of him was at most 15 or 16 years old, right? Underage? SS, it's actually a young girl who's still underage. How was this possible? Tai Jin Gang was completely stunned. Kai Lin, Kai Yi, Uncle Zhang, Yun Jian's classmates were all dumbfounded as they stared at the scene in front of them with wide eyes. Putting aside what SS meant, the group of people in front of them were obviously criminals. In their hands, there were all kinds of guns that even some of the gun-loving boys present couldn't name. How dare Yun Jian speak to them in such a tone? Did she have a death wish? Just as everyone thought of this, they saw Yun Jian take 2 steps forward towards Tai Jin Gang. Yun Jian's lips curled up. Her smile was shy, but it gave people a sense of danger. Even Tai Jin Gang, who was holding a machine gun in his hand, couldn't help but take 2 steps back. This scene was clearly seen by everyone in the surroundings. This burly, 2-meter-tall man with a machine gun in his hand was actually afraid of Yun Jian, who didn't have anything in her hands. Was Yun Jian really that powerful? Although everyone in the class knew that Yun Jian was an advanced special forces soldier, they didn't believe in Yun Jian's age at all. Standing afar, Lin Ziheng, who had wanted to kill Yun Jian when she overheard his conversation with Qi Xiaoxiao. He even wanted Qi Xiaoxiao to record his conversation so that he could threaten Yun Jian in the end, shuddered. Even Tai Jin Gang, who was holding a machine gun, was afraid of Yun Jian. Lin Ziheng suddenly realized that his and Qi Xiaoxiao's delusions of dealing with Yun Jian was simply a pipe dream. At this moment, Yun Jian looked straight at Tai Jin Gang. She wasn't afraid at all and even crossed her arms lazily as she looked at Tai Jin Gang and said, "You're amazing, you're able to find me." Her identity was sealed off from all corners of the world. It was harder for outsiders to find her than to reach the heavens. Tai Jin Gang clenched his fists, the bones between his fingers cracking. Then, Tai Jin Gang looked at Yun Jian and said in a slightly louder voice, "SS, you won't be able to escape today. I'll kill you right here and now." "Oh. Is that so? Are you sure you can kill me with these lousy guns of yours?" Yun Jian glanced at Tai Jin Gang and Tai Jingang's men with all kinds of guns and chuckled. Tai Jingang's fists clenched tighter. Yes, Yun Jian never boasted. If slaying God, the top secret agent in the international secret agent ranking, could be killed by his men with guns, she would not be slaying God anymore. She should have given up her position a long time ago. "Sister Jian, you don't have to fight these people," Qing Yu said faintly as she stepped out from the crowd's attention. As she spoke, she took out a few poisonous needles. She had soaked the needles in poisonous water. Once they pierced a person's skin, the person would die instantly. "You're Lady Femme Fatale?" Tai Jin Gang glanced at Qing Yu with a frown and cried out. Qing Yu's codename was Lady Femme Fatale. Her name in the underworld was terrifying due to her poison. These changes shocked Kai Lin, Kai Yi, and the others, but no one dared to make a sound at this moment. Lady Femme Fatale? What SS? Did they think that they were acting? They gave themselves another code name? Chapter 1275. What SS? What Femme Fatale? You guys must be acting, right? And, the bullets from those guns don't have gunpowder or bullets, so they can't kill anyone, right? When one of the boys saw this, he suddenly shouted out in fear, just to comfort himself. Everything in front of him was fake. The people in front of him must be joking. None of this was real. He did not need to be afraid. The boy comforted himself. Acting? Pfft. I think I just heard the funniest joke. Tai Jin Gang chuckled, redirecting his attention back to Tai Jin Gang. Tai Jin Gang was someone who was closely related to assassins and secret agents. At the same time, his ability was unlike those third-rate assassins. Yun Jian might look lazy, but she was actually paying attention to Tai Jin Gang and everyone else's actions. She, Yun Jian, was never conceited. Even if she looked extremely lazy on the outside, even if she was so confident that it was unbearable. Even if she had to fight a beggar by the roadside, she would never underestimate anyone. No one could guarantee that the person standing in front of them was weak. However, if they did not have Yun Jian's mentality, showing their emotions on their face no matter who they were fighting and letting their opponents realize that they were constantly on guard against their surroundings, such a person would definitely be a weakling. Not letting others see through one's inner thoughts was the most basic skill of a secret agent. Tai Jingang's every move was under Yun Jian's control. Yun Jian did not make a sound, but if one were to observe closely, they would see a flash of light in her eyes. Kid, I'll let you have a taste of this bullet's power. Iron King Kong laughed maniacally. At the same time, he pointed his machine gun at the boy who had just said that everything was fake. If this bullet were to be fired, the boy's body would be turned into a beehive. Forget about surviving, it would be a problem if his corpse would even be intact. Although the boy felt that all of this was fake, he still trembled. Anyone who had a machine gun pointed at their body, even if it was a fake one, would still be afraid. However, just as the boy, including everyone present, was thinking about this, Tai Jin Gang had already aimed the machine gun at the boy, and his finger was on the trigger. Ah! The people standing around instantly shouted. Everyone saw that the bullets fired by the Iron King Kong had a flash of fire. Even if it didn't kill anyone, it would definitely hurt them to death. In particular, the Tai Jin Gang group's disguise made the surrounding people even more convinced that the guns in their hands were real. Don't kill me, don't kill me. Ah! Even the boy just now held his head and shouted. Hee, you dare to question me? Go to hell. Tai Jin Gang didn't care about this. After he finished growling, his hand was already pulling the trigger. However, the crowd only heard half of Tai Jingang's roar when a sharp female voice sounded. You want to kill someone in front of me? Dream on. Just as this voice sounded, everyone saw a small and delicate figure pass by in front of them. Within 3 breaths, Yun Jian's figure had already arrived in front of Tai Jin Gang. She lifted her leg and kicked Tai Jingang's wrist accurately. Tai Jin Gang frowned. He had been stopped from shooting the boy, but Yun Jian hadn't kicked his wrist. Tai Jin Gang took a big step back at the same time. Tai Jingang's strength really couldn't be underestimated. Yun Jian narrowed her eyes. She changed her strategy and directly pounced on Tai Jin Gang. However, just as she was about to reach Tai Jin Gang, she turned to the right and kicked Tai Jingang's waist from the side. Bang! This time, Tai Jin Gang was kicked by Yun Jian and fell directly to the ground. However, after Tai Jin Gang was kicked to the ground, he rolled twice on the ground and stood up in the next second. If someone else had been kicked by Yun Jian, they definitely wouldn't be able to stand up within half an hour. Tai Jin Gang was indeed powerful. He turned over and stood up a second after being kicked. Yun Jian stood in the same place. She curled her lips and sneered at Tai Jingang. You can survive one move from me. You're really powerful. Chapter 1276. Her younger brother's death in her previous life was fatally related to the Tai Jingang in front of her. Tai Jingang was the culprit, the subordinate of the mysterious person. Even if Tai Jingang did not come today, Yun Jian would have been searching for Tai Jingang. Now that Tai Jingang had come knocking on her door, there was no way he could leave this place alive. Sister Jian, you don't have to do anything with these people's capabilities. Qing Yu came up with a pair of poison needles in each of her fingers. Qing Yu went to Tai Jingang with the needles. Not only Tai Jingang, even the men standing beside Tai Jingang flinched and took 2 steps back. It was not that they were cowards, it was just that Qing Yu's capability was too frightening. Qing Yu's combat ability was not strong, but no one in the world would dare claim to be the best if she claimed to be the second best at poisoning. Who had not heard of the Venom Lady? The codename of Lady Venom was Qing Yu's moniker after she had killed countless international bosses and presidents of some countries without a sound back then due to her horrifying poison skills. Who would not be afraid of the Venom Lady's nickname internationally? Capture one alive, wipe out the rest. After that, she crossed her arms and spoke to Qing Yu nonchalantly, looking at the group before her. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Understood. Qing Yu accepted the order and put the needles away with a flip of her hand before taking out a pair of transparent gloves from her pocket. The gloves were about the same thickness as the plastic wrap, and they looked almost the same. In spite of it, their function was completely different. Qing Yu's transparent gloves were made by herself. She could hold any poison she made directly when she wore them. As long as she wore this pair of gloves, she could completely defend herself against poisons that could be fatal if they came into contact with her skin. Qing Yu put the gloves on and took out the needles again with a flip of her hand. Holding them in her hand, she walked toward Tai Jingang and his men. Secret agents, assassins, mercenaries, and special forces who had reached a certain level of capability could dodge bullets. Therefore, Tai Jingang knew that their guns were completely useless against Qing Yu and Yun Jian. Qing Yu, you dummy. Don't go alone. I haven't fought in a long time. Wait for me. Gu Nianji was moving her limbs now, her bones cracking loudly. Gu Nianji walked over as she did so. Seeing that Qing Yu and Gu Nianji were attacking, Yun Jian stood aside and did not plan to attack. Little captive, what are you doing here? Qing Yu, on the other hand, did not care about Iron King Kong's group at all. She even turned to joke with Gu Nianji. In reality, although Qing Yu had turned to look at Gu Nianji, she was glaring at Iron King Kong and the rest from the corner of her eyes. F***ck me, Qing Yu, if you dare call me little captive again, I'll... Gu Nianji pouted, but before she could finish her sentence, Qing Yu interrupted her. Bang! 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 A series of gunshots rang out. Yun Jian had already noticed it, but she did not say anything. On the other end, Tai Jingang's men who were standing beside him were falling one after another. Tai Jingang did not even realize what was happening. Ce, who was standing far away, had already seen Yun Jian. He frowned slightly. Lin Wei was leading in Hun's assassins to snipe Tai Jingang's men from afar while Ce walked toward Yun Jian in the rain of bullets. Chapter 1277. Yun Jian had only said it casually, but Uncle Zhang and all of Yun Jian's classmates were so frightened that they quickly looked for trash cans or other defensive places to hide. The boy who was saved by Yun Jian earlier looked at Yun Jian gratefully and was the first to find a place to hide. What the boy did not know was that Yun Jian had not stepped forward to save him because she cared about his life or death. When she said, "Dream on if you want to kill someone in front of me," everyone present, including Tai Jingang, thought that Yun Jian was protecting them. As a secret agent and assassin, she was not a saint. There was no need for her to protect anyone. Yun Jian would not care even if the boy died in front of her. However, Yun Jian had made a move just now. If one were to ask why, the reason was simple. Yun Jian had only wanted to test Tai Jingang's ability. Yun Jian would never underestimate a powerful enemy. Under such circumstances, it was only natural for her to test the opponent's ability. Saving the boy earlier was a piece of cake. In reality, Yun Jian's real intention was only to test Tai Jingang's ability. If she could test a person's ability before making a move, it would be easier for Yun Jian to kill Tai Jinggang in one move. As her soul returned to reality, Yun Jian was already rushing toward Tai Jinggang. Qin Yu and Gu Nianji were only surprised for a moment before they followed Yun Jian's pace and dashed over. Lin Wei was still leading in Hun's assassins to snipe Tai Jingang's underlings from afar. As a result, Tai Jinggang and his men were sandwiched in the middle by Yun Jian and Si Yi's men. They were attacked from the front and back. Damn it! Kill! Kill! Tai Jinggang finally reacted. More than half of his men had already been killed by Lin Wei and the Hun's assassins. Naturally, Lin Wei's strength was not to be underestimated. He led the assassins to snipe Tai Jingang's group from afar, and they were simply able to kill them one by one. Kai Lin, Kai Yi, Qi Xiao Xiao, Lin Ziheng, and the others who were hiding in the trash can or hiding in various places were all pale with fright as they watched the people collapse one by one. This was beyond the limits of the black market. This was a battle of life and death. Life and death were only separated by a single thought. As long as he wasn't strong enough, 1 second was enough. 1 second was enough to take a life. Just as she was thinking about this, Kai Lin suddenly felt a small figure flash before her eyes. Yun Jian led Qin Yu and Gu Nianji into the chaotic battle without the slightest fear of being accidentally killed by Lin Wei and Hun's assassins. At the time, Kai Lin had even mocked Gu Nianji by saying that she was working for Yun Jian. She made it sound like she was a gangster. At this moment, Kai Lin felt that her face was burning, as if she had been slapped hard in the face. Kai Lin's expression was terrible. However, it was also at this moment that she saw Yun Jian killing one of Tai Jingang's underlings in a few moves after charging into the crowd. Then, she went straight to Tai Jinggang. At the same time, Yun Jian held a butterfly knife in her hand. The blade of this butterfly knife was made from the god-vanquishing blade. It could kill everything in the world, even the gods of deity continent. Yun Jian held the butterfly knife and stood in front of Tai Jinggang. Tai Jinggang was ready to retreat, but when he saw the butterfly knife in Yun Jian's hand, Tai Jingang's eyes widened and he screamed in horror, "Duh! God-vanquishing blade? Yun Jian, be careful. He's from Yulong mainland." Gu Nianji looked at Tai Jinggang and suddenly shouted at Yun Jian with widened eyes. Tai Jinggang reacted in the next second and realized that things were not as simple as he thought. Therefore, Tai Jinggang risked not being able to cultivate for 100 years and directly used the spiritual power of Yulong mainland on earth. What is that? The people standing in the distance saw this and were so scared that their faces turned pale. In the next second, Yun Jian's voice sounded, "You've lost." Her voice was cold as if there was no warmth at all. However, when Yun Jian came within 3 meters of Tai Jinggang, the spiritual power that Tai Jinggang had just used was instantly broken. He instantly became an ordinary person. Pfft! In the next breath, the butterfly knife in Yun Jian's hand had already pierced Tai Jingang's heart. There was only one person in the world who could make someone from Yulong mainland lose their spiritual power within 3 meters of them, witch. You're the witch goddess. Before he could say the word Lord, Tai Jinggang saw Yun Jian smile coldly and say the last words that Tai Jinggang heard in this world before he died. "I said, you've lost." With that, Yun Jian withdrew the butterfly knife. Chapter 1278. With Tai Jinggang dead, Tai Jingang's underlings were defeated instantly. Especially with Lin Wei leading in Hun's ambush from afar, with Qin Yu and Gu Nianji's help nearby. Tai Jingang's underlings were all dead in no time. Of course, Following Yunjian's initial wishes, Tai Jingang's underlings were all killed, leaving only one alive. Lin Wei and Shuang from afar rushed over with Enhan's assassins. Watching Tai Jinggang being killed by Yunjian just like that, Kai Lin and the rest who were standing afar saw Tai Jinggang use the spiritual power of Yulong mainland before he died. Tai Jingang's hands suddenly emitted a strong light, but he was killed by Yunjian before the light could be released. Therefore, the people from afar only thought that Tai Jinggang had taken out something like a flashlight. After all, they were standing afar, and no one would have thought that Tai Jinggang came from Yulong mainland. This was because they did not even know of Yulong mainland's existence. This was an era where people believed in science. If they were to believe in another world, they would not believe in it unless they had truly seen and experienced it. That group of people. Seeing Lin Wei and Shuang leading Enhan's assassins from afar, Kai Lin and the rest were still trembling in fear, not daring to come out. Zhang Xiaofeng, Chen Sini, and Ling Yichen had seen more terrifying scenes than this. Although they did not ask Yunjian directly, the three of them knew that Yunjian was not a simple person. Moreover, Yunjian knew some international figures. Especially when they saw Ce, Zhang Xiaofeng and the rest understood immediately. Zhang Xiaofeng and the other two knew that Ce was Yunjian's boyfriend, so Zhang Xiaofeng and the other two walked out when they saw that Tai Jinggang and the others were dead. In the distance, Kai Lin and the others were scared out of their wits when they saw the corpses of Tai Jinggang and the others. How would they dare to come over? While Yunjian remained where she was, Ce came up to her and grabbed Yunjian's hand. Xiao Jian, why didn't you tell me you're here? With that, Ce pulled Yunjian into his embrace. He didn't care that Yunjian's classmates were still watching from afar. He only had eyes for Yunjian. It's a class reunion. We're here to ride a horse. Yunjian pursed her red lips and explained. Ce smirked. As long as he saw Yunjian, all his anxiety was gone. Ce answered softly. Young madam, young master, I've kidnapped him. As Shuang spoke, he tossed Tai Jingang's underling who was intentionally spared to Yunjian and Ce. Shuang purposely put Yunjian in front when he addressed her because he knew that the young madam's current status was even higher than the young master's. If the young madam wanted the young master to kneel and sing, conquer, the young master would not reject her. Shuang thought that he should suck up to Yunjian and beg Yunjian to let the young master sing, conquer, for them. Bring him back first and clean up the scene, Ce told Shuang. With that, he caressed Yunjian's head affectionately. Qi Xiaoxiao who was watching from afar was envious of the gesture. Although Lin Zihang was good-looking, he was not on the same level as Ce. But it was a pity that Lin Zihang was definitely richer than this good-looking guy. Just as she was thinking about this, Ce had already pulled Yunjian's hand and walked out of the racecourse. When Chen Sini saw this, she wanted to follow but was stopped by Zhang Xiaofeng and Ling Yichen with evil smiles on their faces. After Shuang agreed, he walked towards the crowd that was hiding in various places. After a pause, Shuang asked, "Who's in charge of the racecourse?" At this moment, Uncle Zhang stepped forward timidly. "You're tuning into the A Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.